This video continues with Chapter 30. Luffy takes a bite of devil fruit and awakens Conqueror and #039S. A double comparison of navigation. This succubus Luffy is reversed. Chapter 30. Luffy takes a bite of devil fruit and awakens Conqueror and #039S. Just say it. The world government strongly denies that the rubber fruit is the human fruit phantom, beast in the form of the sun god Nika. But these pirates are not stupid. Naturally, we know that it must be the legendary divine fruit. Devil fruit also has quality and grades. For example, ordinary Zoan species are not as good as ancient species, and ancient species are not as good as fantasy beast species. Because the phantom beast is the rarest devil fruit in the world, even rarer than Logia. And the devil fruit is the form of the human fruit phantom beast sun god Nika. It is the most top-notch devil fruit among the fantasy beast species. None of them. Looking at this world, it is impossible for any devil fruit to have the ability, and the upper limit will be higher than this devil fruit. Unless Oda changes the settings. Jago Lucia Satan Saint, you redhead. See the speech of red-haired Shanks in the parallel world. The five elders suddenly became angry. They had previously wondered whether the red-haired Shanks intercepted and robbed the fruit, because he knew that what CP9 was escorting was a Nika fruit. But it was just a suspicion. But now they can be sure. The red-haired Shanks went to snatch it because he knew that the escort was a Nika fruit. Because the red-haired Shanks had an identity of celestial dragons, they gave the red-haired Shanks a lot of authority. It even gave him access to the Holy Mariewa. Make time to meet him during World Summit. All this is to give face to the identity of red-haired Shanks celestial dragons. But what they didn't expect was that the red-haired Shanks would stab them in the back. They stole the god's devil fruit that should have been recovered by their world government. The Luffy in the parallel world is about to get the Nika fruit. It's impossible for these old guys to say they don't panic, because they have already seen Luffy's talent, upper limit, and potential in that world. At the age of 5, he mastered armament color and observation Haki, and he learned it instantly. Such a being would eat the devil fruit, the strongest phantom beast species in the world. What heights he will reach? The five elders are unknown. There is only one thing they can be sure of. That is Luffy in the parallel world, who will definitely surpass Joey Boy from 800 years ago. Marca's Mazshang, I didn't expect that he would eventually take the path of a pirate. I hope that we in that world can realize the threat of this kid earlier. In this world, the reason why they didn't take action against Luffy was, on the one hand, it is because they feel that even if Luffy eats the god fruit, he may not awaken. After all, for 800 years, this devil fruit has never fallen into the hands of their world government. One can imagine how many people have eaten this devil fruit along the way. But without exception, no one can achieve awakening. From this, we can see how difficult it will be to awaken this devil fruit. Another reason is that Luffy's grandfather is Garp after all. Garp's prestige is really too high. If their world government personally goes out to surround and kill Luffy, will offend Garp. And offending Garp is equivalent to offending half of the naval headquarters. This is exactly why they let Luffy grow up. But Luffy from another world has so much potential and talent. The probability of awakening devil fruit is extremely high. Even if it offends Garp, they believe it is necessary to eliminate that Luffy. Parallel world. After a few months passed, red-haired Shanks successfully obtained the rubber fruit and then gave the devil fruit to Luffy. Is this the rubber fruit you were talking about before? Luffy asked, looking at the devil fruit with strange lines handed over by the red-haired Shanks. That's right, by the way, before you eat it, I want to do an experiment. Red-haired Shanks suddenly said. What test? Luffy asked confused. I heard that devil fruit will choose its owner. I want to see if you will be chosen by this devil fruit. Red-haired Shanks explained. Really, how do you want to test it? Luffy asked. Red-haired Shanks said nothing, then found 5 bowls. After asking Luffy to turn his back, he placed rubber fruit in one of the bowls, and then asked Luffy to turn around again. Okay, now let's guess which bowl contains the devil fruit. Of course, even if you don't guess correctly in the end, the devil fruit is still yours, but you can't use observation haki, otherwise you will lose the fun of experimenting. Already, red-haired Shanks said slowly. Hearing this, Luffy glanced at the 5 bowls placed side by side on the table, and then said calmly, "In the 3rd bowl." Guessed it right. Red-haired Shanks takes the bowl away, and sure enough, devil fruit is inside. Let's increase the difficulty a little bit. Please, Makino, please bring me some more bowls. Hearing this, Makino brought 5 more bowls, 10 bowls in total. Red-haired Shanks repeated the steps just now and asked Luffy to guess again. Luffy guessed correctly again easily. Red-haired Shanks thinks this is quite interesting and keeps increasing the difficulty. Even in the end, he went to the village and borrowed 100 bowls and placed them on the ground outside the village, asking Luffy to guess which bowl contained rubber fruit. But Luffy easily guessed that there was rubber fruit in the bowl. Guessed it right again. See Luffy correctly guess which bowl contains the devil fruit out of 100 bowls. There is no one in the entire Red Hair Pirates who is not shocked. It's as if Luffy and rubber fruit have a telepathic connection. Will you give it or not? Luffy couldn't help but complain. Is it true? Devil fruit can indeed choose its master. I believe there is no one in the world who is more suitable for this devil fruit than you. A devil fruit that can bring freedom to people, paired with you who want to be the best in the world. The freest person, this devil fruit seems to exist just for you. Red-haired Shanks did not continue the experiment and handed the devil fruit to Luffy. Luffy took the devil fruit without hesitation and ate it directly. It tastes so bad. The next second, Luffy frowned involuntarily. But the moment after eating the rubber fruit, a vigorous force emerged from Luffy's body and surged out, sweeping in all directions like a torrent. In the small town, many residents were swept away by this force and instantly fainted and fell to the ground. Is this Conqueror'S Haki? Red-haired Shanks broke into cold sweat on his forehead. Take a bite of devil fruit and awaken Conqueror'S Haki. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 31, Mastering Conqueror and #039, S. Haki at the age of 5, an unprecedented monster. Gall D. Roger. Monkey D. Garp. Edward Newgate. Kaido of the Beasts. Charlotte Linlin. Byandy Wald, what happened? After taking a bite of devil fruit, Conqueror'S Haki awakened directly? Isn't this kid only 5 years old now? Luffy is seen taking a bite of devil fruit, awakening Conqueror'S Haki directly. No one in the entire chat room was not surprised. Because what is Conqueror'S Haki? This is the most powerful Haki in the world. Among millions of people, only one person can have it. Even if they are a group of strong men who stand at the top of the world. The process of awakening Conqueror'S Haki is also very difficult. But who would have thought? Luffy woke up without any effort, just took a bite of devil fruit. Achoku, hey, this is too much. What's going on with this kid? At the age of 5, he mastered both weapon color and sight color at the same time, Conqueror'S Haki. Douglas Bullet, what happened? Why did he awaken Conqueror'S Haki so suddenly? Kaido of the Beasts, Conqueror'S Haki only appears once in a million people. I didn't expect. This guy also has one. Charlotte Linlin, it's not surprising that a man of this level has the qualifications of Conqueror'S Haki. What's surprising is why this kid can awaken so easily. He obviously didn't do anything, just ate just a bite of devil fruit. Luffy mastered the weapon color at the age of 5, the power of observation Haki. They had already predicted that Luffy definitely had the qualifications to be Conqueror'S Haki. But no one could think of it. Luffy actually awakens Conqueror'S Haki in this way. This is really too sudden. It's so strange and surprising. Edward Newgate, what an unimaginable brat. Marco, awakening Conqueror'S Haki at the age of 5, has already refreshed our world. The youngest owner of Conqueror'S Haki. Jaws, this guy is too powerful to be called a human being. Kuzan, ah la la, that's really scary Conqueror'S Haki. Poruzalino, awakening Conqueror'S Haki at such an age, why can't this guy be a marine? It's really a headache. Doesn't this make it difficult for me as a marine in that world? Sakazuki, do you look like a king? This guy. Monkey D. Garp, ha ha ha. My grandson awakened Conqueror'S Haki when he was only 5 years old. My grandson is so awesome. See Luffy'S 5-year-old awakening in Conqueror'S Haki. Garp suddenly felt numb with excitement. After all, even in a parallel world, Luffy is still his grandson, and this will never change. Pluton Silver Rayleigh. Roger, can you understand what is going on? Why did Luffy awaken Conqueror'S Haki in this way? Gall D. Roger. The so-called Conqueror'S Haki cannot be mastered through practice, nor can it be made stronger through practice. Only when the user's own vigor and spiritual power become stronger will it be simultaneously strengthened and mastered. Gall D. Roger. In my opinion, the reason why Luffy in that world ate the Nika fruit, the phantom beast species of the sun god, and directly awakened Conqueror'S Haki was probably because that devil fruit enhanced Luffy. His vigor and spiritual power awakened the Conqueror'S Haki hidden in his body. Gall D. Roger, what an unbelievable scene. How well did the devil fruit fit in with Luffy, so that he who just ate the devil fruit would directly gain the spirit and spiritual power? Enhancement. Roger once heard that devil fruit chooses its owner. But in fact, Roger doesn't really believe in such legends. But today, Roger began to believe in this legend. This can be seen through the red-haired Shanks' experiment on Luffy. From 5 bowls hiding devil fruit to 100 bowls hiding devil fruit. In the end, Luffy easily found where the devil fruit was hidden. This is not because Luffy found the human fruit, the phantom beast-type sun god Nika form fruit. But this devil fruit found Luffy. As red-haired Shanks said, this devil fruit symbolizes freedom. And what Luffy desires most is freedom. The compatibility between the two of them is really great. Higher than anyone else. It's as if this devil fruit was born for Luffy. Maybe that's why. The moment Luffy eats this devil fruit, the power of this devil fruit has already activated. Help Luffy successfully awaken Conqueror'S Haki. Copper Jabba. You mean it was the power of the devil fruit that helped Luffy awaken Conqueror'S Haki, Roger? Gall D. Roger, that's right. Kaido of the Beasts, what are you talking about? Roger, if you really believe what you said, why didn't the Straw Hat Boy in our world directly awaken Conqueror'S Haki when he ate the devil fruit? Gall D. Roger, the only explanation is that the Luffy in our world did not fit well enough with the devil fruit when he ate it. Charlotte Linlin, your explanation is too far-fetched, Roger. Vegapunk, no, Roger the Pirate King did not lie. Because according to my research and experiments, the reason why devil fruit was born in this world was because people in the past longed to be powerful and have power beyond miracles. Vegapunk, for example, there are a large number of people who long for the power of burning. Mira Mira fruit was born in the sea. They long for the power of freezing everything. Frozen fruit was born in the sea. Vegapunk, but because this power is not recognized by the mother of nature, the sea, devil fruit, is spurned and cursed by the sea. Vegapunk, the birth of the devil fruit in the form of Nika, the phantom beast species of the sun god, may be precisely because people have a yearning for freedom in their hearts, so this devil fruit came to this sea. Vegapunk, the biggest dream of Luffy in that world is to be free. Because of this, the devil fruit values Luffy's potential and is incomparably compatible with him. Vegapunk, the legend that devil fruit can choose its master may be true. Devil fruit, in the form of Nika, the human fruit phantom beast species, and the sun god, chose Luffy and inspired Luffy's hidden power in his body. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 32 Red Hair. Garp is coming, run brothers. Eustace Kid, Vegapunk? Is he the world-famous scientist who is said to have a technology that is 500 years ahead of the world? Trafalgar Law, I see. Is this the reason why the devil fruit was born? I didn't expect that I could even investigate such a thing. I am truly worthy of a scientist with a technology that is said to be 500 years ahead of the world. Jago Lucia Satan Saint, Vegapunk, what the hell are you talking about in the chat room, you bastard? Do you even think that is the so-called devil fruit, the sun god Nika form? Marcus Mazsaint, Vegapunk, I believe you also know it very well, that is rubber fruit. Vegapunk is now loyal to their world government, no matter what. But the result? Now even Vegapunk has jumped out and said that it is the fruit of God. Doesn't this violate their world government? Vegapunk, sorry, that's the rubber fruit. I made a mistake. That's not the fruit in the form of the human fruit, the phantom beast sun god Nika. Vegapunk now still needs funding from the world government for research. Naturally, I don't dare to break up with the world government. Rocks D. Topman Wuchulai Saint, shut up rocks, that's rubber fruit. Parallel world. Luffy's sudden awakening of Conqueror'S Haki shocked everyone in the Red Hair Pirates. What happened? Why did they all faint? Luffy glanced at the surrounding villagers in confusion. It was found that quite a few people had fainted, also including Yuta standing next to him. And Yuta fainted and fell on Luffy. Luffy just held Yuta with his hands to prevent her from lying on the ground. Although I don't know why you suddenly awakened this power, congratulations, Luffy. What you awakened is the strongest among Conqueror'S Haki. Red-haired Shanks tried hard to calm down his shocked mood and told, Conqueror'S Haki, is this Conqueror'S Haki? Luffy was also stunned when he heard what red-haired Shanks said. As early as a few months ago, after he learned the weapon color and the sight color, he planned to let the red-haired Shanks teach him Conqueror'S Haki. But because the red-haired Shanks said he wanted to find rubber fruit for him, he has been away for several months. I didn't come back until today. Luffy also planned to ask red-haired Shanks to teach him Conqueror'S after eating rubber fruit, but the other party actually told him that he had awakened Conqueror'S Haki. Yes, this power is definitely Conqueror'S Haki. It's really unexpected that you will awaken Conqueror'S Haki after eating this devil fruit. Sure enough, this devil fruit matches you very well. Red-haired Shanks couldn't help but sigh. A man as powerful as red-haired Shanks first discovered the power of Conqueror'S Haki when he was in his 20s. But Luffy, standing in front of him, actually managed to master it at the age of only 5 years old. Devil fruit. Luffy couldn't help but clenched his fists. After eating rubber fruit, he always felt that his body became a little different. Not only can he stretch his body freely according to his will, but he can vaguely feel that his physique seems to be much stronger. Eating this devil fruit is indeed the right choice. Luffy couldn't help but sigh inwardly. With the ability of this devil fruit, coupled with my power, sooner or later, I will definitely become the freest man in the world. When he thought of this, he raised his head slightly and focused his gaze on the red-haired Shanks and said, Thank you, Shanks. Red-haired Shanks found this devil fruit for him, so Luffy naturally had to politely thank him. You're welcome, didn't I tell you before? Devil fruit will choose its owner. Maybe even if I don't find rubber fruit for you, this devil fruit will meet you due to various accidents in time. No matter what, thank you very much. If you really want to thank me, then become the freest man in the sea and let me see it. Red-haired Shanks crossed his arms on his chest and said. As the red-haired Shanks' voice fell, Lazalu's exclamation came from not far away. Boss, it's bad, that guy Garp is back. As soon as Lazalu finished speaking, he saw a strong old man with black hair and a black suit in the distance. He rushed towards this direction with a ferocious expression and shouted, Red-haired brat, you bastard, stay away from my grandson. Garp, no run, brothers. Seeing Garp rushing this way, the red-haired Shanks suddenly panicked, hurrying to his companions to escape. Wait, what about Yuta? Luffy stopped the red-haired Shanks and pointed at Yuta, who fainted, and asked, You will take care of Yuta for the time being. We will come back to pick her up after a while. The red-haired Shanks waved his hand and disappeared in a flash. Soon, Garp also ran in front of Luffy. Damn red-haired kid, he ran really fast. Luffy, are you okay? Are you injured? Did they bully you? Garp asked with concern. I'm fine, Luffy shook his head. Garp checked Luffy's body and found nothing unusual. He breathed a sigh of relief and gently touched Luffy's hair. That's good. Fortunately, Grandpa arrived in time. If those bastard pirates dare to take action against my grandson, I will chase them even if they run to the New World. But the next second, he suddenly noticed that there were many villagers lying on the ground. Wait, why did so many villagers fall? Was it the red-haired bastard who did it? Damn it, you actually attacked innocent villagers. I will never let them go. Before Luffy could say anything, Garp clenched his fists and chased after the red hair pirates. Luffy sighed helplessly when he saw this. He glanced at Yuta, who was fainting on his chest, and then picked her up. Bring back to Makino'S room. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 33, Yuta is in coma, Makino'S chance comes. Red-haired Shanks, Garp, you're going too far. I worked so hard to get the rubber fruit. I immediately returned to Windmill Village and handed it over to Luffy. I also helped him awaken Conqueror'S Haki. You couldn't help but start chasing us. Red-haired Shanks has something to say. Razoroo, that's right. Why did you start chasing us without asking clearly? It's obvious that the fainting of those villagers was not caused by us red hair pirates, but because Luffy awakened Conqueror'S Haki. Monkey D. Garp, shut up. In a situation like that, most people would think it was you red hair pirates who took action against those innocent civilians. No matter what. It is absolutely impossible for the Garp in that world to think that it was his grandson who accidentally awakened Conqueror'S Haki. So shock those villagers into fainting. Ben Beckman, don't be so hostile to us, Garp. No matter what, we have never bullied Luffy in this world or in that parallel world, and we even regard him as a companion. Monkey D. Garp, you still have the nerve to say that. If it weren't for you red hair pirates, my grandson would have become the strongest soldier in naval headquarters instead of clamoring to become the pirate king all day long. Sakazuki, you red hair pirates are really guilty. Poruzalino, it's all your fault, red hair pirates. Even if you tricked the grandson of Garp in our world into becoming a pirate, you also tricked the Straw Hat Boy into becoming a pirate in another world. You know that I am Marine in the parallel world. How much pressure will you bear? Yasopp, don't pour any dirty water on us. It was obviously Luffy's own choice, but we never forced him to decide his own life. Monkey D. Garp, stop talking nonsense. I should have never let you get close to Windmill Village from the beginning. This way my grandson will not be harmed by you. Ben Beckman, forget it. There's no way you can talk to this stubborn old man. Achoku, compared with Garp chasing the redhead, what I care more about is the redhead so relieved of Luffy? Will he leave the fainted Yuta to Luffy to take care of? Byandy Wald, if I remember correctly, during the few months when the red hair pirates left Windmill Village to search for the whereabouts of rubber fruit, the little girl named Yuta did not accompany them. In other words, these few months for months, Yuta has been with that Luffy. Vince Sanji, Luffy. Quinn, my goddess. Douglas Bullet, I really envy the Straw Hat Boy in that world. Having a woman by his side not only does not delay his training, but also makes him stronger and stronger. Is this the so-called having your cake and eat it too? Kaido of the Beasts, this kid, is just enjoying life. When Kaido was a pirate, he lived a life of fighting and licking blood all day long. But Luffy is different. He has a woman by his side, a redhead to pave the way for him, and his own talent is so strong that he can awaken Conqueror'S Haki by eating a devil fruit. They are the same people, what a difference. They become pirates to make a living. But Luffy enjoys life as a pirate. Parallel world. After Luffy carried the fainted Yuta to Makino'S room, Makino came over with concern and asked, "What happened? Why did Yuta faint?" Shanks said it was because I awakened Conqueror'S Haki. Luffy scratched his head in embarrassment. The sudden awakening of Conqueror'S Haki caught Luffy off guard. Facing Yuta, who was shocked and fainted because of himself, Luffy still felt a little guilty. Bah, Conqueror'S Haki. Little Luffy, have you awakened Conqueror'S Haki? Makino was shocked when he heard Luffy's words. Although she is not a pirate, but because she is the owner of the Windmill Village Tavern, she often listens to the chats of the red hair pirates. So she has naturally heard of the power of Conqueror'S Haki. I heard that is the strongest Haki. This is a power that only one person among 1,000,000 people can possess. Well, I don't know when Yuta will wake up, and I don't know if my Conqueror'S Haki will cause harm to her. Luffy nodded slightly, then looked at Yuta with some concern. The two have been getting along for a few months, and Luffy still has a good impression of Yuta. Don't worry, little Luffy. I heard from Shanks that the initial Conqueror'S Haki will only make people faint and will not cause any harm to the body. Makino stroked Luffy's hair comfortingly. Really? Then I'll be relieved. Luffy couldn't help but breathed a sigh of relief after hearing Makino's words. Are you hungry, Luffy? I've just made dinner, Makino asked. Hi. As soon as he heard about eating, Luffy couldn't help but get excited. Soon, Makino placed the plates of dishes on the table, then moved a stool and looked at Luffy and said gently, Come on, Luffy, sit on sister's lap and eat. Hearing this, Luffy didn't talk nonsense and just sat on Makino's lap. Because he has been sleeping with Makino and Yuta for the past few months. And while eating, I always sat on Makino's lap. So he didn't think there was anything wrong with it. After sitting on Makino's lap, Luffy took the food in his hand and started to eat happily. Luffy. At this moment, Makino, blushing slightly, put one hand on Luffy's clothes and caressed his belly, while the other hand gently pinched Luffy's cheek. At the same time, she also sets her sights on Yuta from time to time. Observe whether Yuta shows any signs of waking up. In the past few months, whenever Makino wanted to do something outrageous to Luffy, Yuta would appear in time to stop her. This also allowed Makino to endure for several months when facing Luffy, who was so close. And now, I see that Yuta has fainted and shows no sign of waking up. Makino is becoming more and more courageous. He gently turned up Luffy's shirt and began to caress Luffy's abdomen. Luffy glanced at Makino with some confusion, but didn't take it too seriously and continued eating the food in his hands. Makino's hand also slowly moves downward. Of course, this video is not played on the projection screen, because as long as the video is prepared to play to a more outrageous scene, it will automatically skip and not play. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 34, Makino takes Luffy's first blood. Achoku, what a blessing. What a blessing this kid is. Can he sit on someone's lap to eat? People in the chat room could only see Luffy sitting on Makino's lap. The subsequent scenes will not continue to play. Bandit Walled, what a happy day. First I ate the legendary god fruit, then awakened Conqueror'S Haki, and then even ate while sitting on a woman's lap. John, I've said this countless times about envy. Kaido of the Beasts, this brat is just enjoying life. I really want him to experience what I have experienced. Seeing Luffy in that world, his childhood was so happy and joyful. Kaido of the Beasts was so angry that his back molars almost broke. You must know that Kaido was born in the Woka Kingdom, which could not afford the gold from the sky. As a young child at that time, he had to fight for years. At the age of 10, he became the strongest soldier in the Woka Kingdom. But the good times didn't last long. He was betrayed by his own king and sold to Marine in exchange for the opportunity to participate in the World Summit. Kaido, who was betrayed, began to resist and lived a life of fighting. Later, he joined Rock's Pirate and continued to compete year after year. A hard-working batch. But what about Luffy? The childhood encounters between the two of them were like heaven and earth. The most infuriating thing is, Kaido feels that Luffy's talent and potential seem to be stronger than his own. Charlotte Linlin, when I was young, I was abandoned by my parents and wandered all the way to become a pirate, but this kid, damn, why can he live such a happy life? Bandit Walled, we became pirates because we were forced by life, but this kid is different. He became a pirate for freedom and to become the strongest in history. Silver Axe, I really want to switch roles with this bastard. I have never had a few happy days in my life. I spend all day fighting, and guarding against marine attacks, but this kid has a happy life every day. Kyuzen, what an enviable day. Razoroo, did the Makino from that world really like Luffy? He always felt that the Makino in that world looked wrong at Luffy. That look didn't seem to simply treat Luffy as a child. You must know that Makino is the woman that their captain, the red-haired Shanks, likes. But because the red-haired Shanks was too timid, he never dared to express his love. In addition, the Red Hair Pirates are the Four Emperors pirate group of the New World after all, and they have too many things to deal with. Even if it finally happened, the red-haired Shanks wouldn't have much time to spend with Makino. Because of this, red-haired Shanks has been hiding his feelings. Just put it off again and again. Makino, you are really good at joking, Lazaru. I just regard Luffy as my younger brother. There is no other meaning. I believe that the same is true for me in that world. Although he talks about it, Makino always feels it. In that world, my behavior seemed to be a little out of line. And what's even worse is that, when she looks at Luffy in that world now, she feels attracted to him. Razaru, really? Seeing Makino's reply, Lazaru couldn't help but breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that Makino in that world would really fall in love with Luffy. After all, if this is the case, isn't their captain too miserable? Teaching Luffy observation Haki, and giving him devil fruit to help him awaken Conqueror'S Haki. But it turns out that Luffy in that world also stole the woman their captain liked. Unplayed video. Parallel world. Makino slowly extends his hand. This made Luffy stunned. What's wrong, Sister Makino? Luffy asked doubtfully. What's going on? You suddenly touched it down there. It's nothing. My sister is checking your body. Makino had a blush on his face and touched Luffy's head to explain. Is this necessary for physical examination? Luffy asked, confused. Yes, let my sister check you up properly. Makino nodded. She says, glancing at Yuta. Seeing that Yuta was still in a coma, Makino became bolder and looked at Luffy and said, Luffy, do you want to become an adult? Becoming an adult? How? Luffy's head was filled with questions. Sister can help you, but you can't tell anyone what happens next, not your grandfather or Yuta. Makino warned seriously. Why can't you tell Grandpa and Yuta? Because this is a secret between us. The so-called secret is that only two people can know it, and no one else can know it. Makino said seriously. Yeah. Luffy is still confused, and has no idea what Makino is talking about. Are you full, Luffy? Makino asked. I'm full, Luffy nodded. Look at you, sister hasn't eaten anything yet, and you've eaten all the food, so you have to make up for it. By the way, sister makes you an adult. After all, Makino had suppressed his feelings for months. At this moment, I couldn't hold it any longer. While Yuta is unconscious, he will not hinder himself. She must finish all the things she needs to do. After all, if Yuta wakes up, she may never have a chance again. Because Yuta is too clingy to Luffy. Sorry, I accidentally finished all the food. Luffy scratched his head. Leave it to my sister. Let's go somewhere else. We can't wake up Yuta. Will becoming an adult make a big difference? Yes, the movement will be relatively loud, so we can't disturb Yuta. After all, she fainted after being shocked by your Conqueror'S Haki. She needs a good rest. If she wakes up, it may be harmful to her body. It's hurt. Makino said slowly. Really? I understand, but Sister Makino, why are you drooling? Because sister is hungry, okay? Come with sister. Makino wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth, then hugged Luffy and went to another part of the room, far away from Yuta and separated by a door. Everything was ready. Makino didn't continue to talk nonsense. Let Luffy, who is only 5 years old, receive the nourishment of growth. At the same time, she herself was full. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 35 Yuta, why can't she walk steadily? Unplayed video. Parallel world. Night. Yuta, who fainted after being shocked by Luffy's Conqueror'S Haki, finally woke up from the bed. Yuta, you're awake, the food is ready. Come over and eat. Makino notices Yuta waking up and greets Yuta over for dinner with a smile on his face. Yuta rubbed his eyes and saw Luffy sitting on Makino's lap, devouring food, and suddenly said a little dissatisfied. Really, Luffy, why are you sitting on her lap again? Yuta said as he walked towards the dining table, then pulled Luffy over and let Luffy sit on his lap. Luffy didn't pay attention to Yuta's actions, just sat on Yuta's lap and continued to eat the food on the table. Eat slowly, Luffy, there's still a lot more, I'll get it for you. Makino stood up slightly, his legs and feet were unsteady, and he almost fell to the ground, and then walked towards the kitchen tremblingly. Although Luffy is only 5 years old now, normally he should not be mature yet. But don't forget, Luffy ate rubber fruit. Also, there will be armament Haki. What's wrong with her? She's a little unsteady when walking, Yuta asked doubtfully. After hearing Yuta's words, Luffy was about to say something. But he soon realized that this was a secret between himself and Makino. So he spread his hands and pretended not to know, and then continued to eat happily at the food on the table. Original world. When Luffy was 7 years old, because Luffy had been clamoring to become a pirate. So Garp was furious and handed Luffy to Daden, planning to let Daden educate Luffy and correct his idea of becoming a pirate. After Luffy arrived at Daden's house, he soon met Ace, who was several years older than him. However, Ace did not like Luffy at all at first and ignored him. Luffy even greeted Ace for several months, but was ignored. In order to make friends with Ace, Luffy began to follow Ace, but he often lost track of him. Unfortunately, he either got lost and encountered wolves at the bottom of the valley, or a hornet nest fell from the tree while walking, stinging Luffy's face like a bun. At the same time, he also encountered giant pythons, brown bears, and giant tigers, many near deaths. And what's even worse is that Luffy was so weak at that time that he couldn't even steal a meal from Ace, Daden, and others. Kaido of the Beasts, giggle, it's really hilarious. Is the Straw Hat Boy in our world so miserable? Luffy, who saw their world, also had a tragic experience as a child. Kaido suddenly felt happy. This is a normal person. How can normal people live a happy childhood? You have to experience some life and death, and experience some risks before it is considered normal. Achoku, I have to say, this kid is really lucky. He encountered so many ferocious beasts in a row, and he managed to survive. If it were anyone else, he would definitely be dead. Luffy encountered a beast when he got lost while following Ace. They are all very ferocious beasts in the jungle. With Luffy's strength at the time, he was absolutely unbeatable. But I have to say that Luffy was very lucky, and managed to survive even though he encountered so many beasts. Bindey walled. With this comparison, I feel that the Straw Hat Boy in the parallel world is simply too happy. They are obviously the same person, but their childhood life can be said to be from the same sky. Luffy in the parallel world gets what he wants. The Luffy in their world doesn't care what he wants, he just suffers. Rox D. Red Earl Baloric Redfield. He is Garp's grandson after all. Why does he have Garp's blood in his body? It would be strange if he died easily. Monkey D. Garp, what is this? They are just a few beasts and they want to kill my grandson. You are too underestimated my grandson's vitality. When he was young, I threw him countless times 100 feet into the abyss, tie him to a hot air balloon, fly into the sky, and throw him into a jungle dense with wild beasts. Eustace Kid, is this really something that Grandpa can do? Why do I always feel like I want to kill the Straw Hat Kid? Yuruj, if these words didn't come from that Garp's mouth, I really thought someone wanted to kill the Straw Hat Kid. You know, although Luffy in the parallel world is a monster among monsters. Mastered Conqueror'S Haki at the age of 5, his power is terrifying. But the Luffy of their world wasn't a monster as a child. After all, he was chased by a wild boar and ended up falling into a lake. Trafalgar Law, it's really not easy for the Straw Hat Master to survive till now. Buddha Sengoku, hey, Garp, is this how you treat your grandson? Kyuzin, Mr. Garp, you are too cruel to your grandson. He is still just a child at this time. Poruzalino, if you treat him like this, I will doubt whether he is your grandson, Mr. Garp. Monkey D. Doreg, I knew I shouldn't leave my son to your care. If it weren't for playing this video. Let Garp spill the beans. Even Long didn't know that his son Luffy had such a miserable life as a child. Monkey D. Garp, HMPH, what do you know? Thanks to the hellish training I gave Luffy when I was a child, he has become so powerful now. This is all my education of love. Are you right, Luffy? Monkey D. Luffy, it's like a nightmare. Monkey D. Garp, what? What are you talking about, you brat? That's a trial of love. Monkey D. Luffy, I almost got killed by you, Grandpa. Monkey D. Garp, how could it be? You are my grandson, how could you die? If you are not alive and well now, the fact that you are still alive proves that my love education is correct. Buddha's Sengoku, Garp, please stop saying a few words. Now I understand why your grandson is so rebellious. With such a childhood experience, it would be weird not to be rebellious. Monkey D. Garp, really, I don't understand my good intentions. Chapter 36 Parallel World. Garp is confused. My fist was dodged by my 5-year-old grandson. T. Dolphin, but then again, did Straw Hat actually know Ace when he was young? Monkey D. Luffy, yes, Ace is my sworn brother. Momousagi, sworn brother. Are Garp's grandson and Roger's son sworn brothers? Kyuzin, this is the first time I've heard of such a thing. Porozalino, it's really scary that these two people have such a relationship. Crane, you guys are too slow to react. It was Garp who adopted Roger's son himself. You can figure out the relationship between the two of them with a little thought. In addition, the Straw Hat Boy was in the chat room earlier. As you said, we need to rescue Portka's D. Ace. D. Roger, son, you were too rude to Luffy when you were a kid. People wanted to be friends with you, but you ignored them countless times. Portka's D. Ace, I'm not your son. Also, because I was not good at talking to strangers when I was a child, and I heard that Luffy was the grandson of that old man, I thought he would be with that guy in the future. The old man became a Marine, and I wanted to become a pirate. After all, they are two different paths, so I ignored him. When Ace was a child, he only had one friend, Sabo. At the same time, they have also agreed that they will become pirates in the future. As for the new Luffy, all Ace knows about him is that he is Garp's grandson. Ace thinks Luffy will become Marine in the future. In this case, they will be enemies in the future, and there will be no need for any friendship. But after getting along with him, I discovered that Luffy is a very good person. That's how they became friends. After experiencing the incident where Sabo was bombarded by celestial dragons and fell into the sea, his life and death were unknown. Ace thought Sabo was dead, and from then on he regarded Luffy as his only brother. It can be said that Ace now values Luffy more than anyone else. Monkey D. Luffy, seeing my childhood experience reminds me of Sabo. Portka's D. Ace, Sabo, I miss him so much. Wait, I remember that this chat room can allow people who have died within 50 years to join, so the dead Sabo should be in this chat room. Sabo, are you there, Sabo? Sabo, are you talking about me? Monkey D. Luffy, Sabo, is it Sabo? Portka's D. Ace, you idiot. You're obviously in the chat room. Why don't you speak up and chat with us? Do you know how much we miss you? Sabo, do you know me? Sorry, I don't remember. I have amnesia. I don't remember any memories before the age of 10. I only remember that I fell into the sea for some reason and was rescued by the Revolutionary Army. Come up. Portka's D. Ace, wait, you mean you're not dead? Sabo, I'm not dead. Monkey D. Luffy, do you remember, Sabo? You encountered the Celestial Dragon's ship when you went out to sea, so it was sunk. After that, we thought you were dead. Sabo, Celestial Dragon's ship sunk. After hearing Luffy's reminder, Sabo fell into deep thought. Looking at the two familiar names Luffy and Ace, Sabo's long-lost memories suddenly flooded into his mind. Sabo, Luffy, Ace, I remembered it all. That day I planned to go to sea because I couldn't bear the pressure from my family, but I encountered the Celestial Dragons and their ship was sunk by them. I also remembered that we have a relationship. We even drank the sworn wine, right? Monkey D. Luffy, ha, that's great, Sabo. I didn't expect you to survive. Portka's D. Ace, have you lost your memory? Really, we always thought you were dead, Sabo. Sabo, sorry for worrying you. Antonio Ivankov, this is really unexpected. The kid we saved back then was actually young Master Luffy's sworn brother. Kyuzin, Sabo. Is it Sabo, the second in command of the Revolutionary Army? Porozalino, the son of the Pirate King, the grandson of Garp, and the second in command of the Revolutionary Army, are these three men actually sworn brothers? T. Dolphin, hey, this combination is too exaggerated. Buddha's Sengoku, three sworn brothers, none of them are simple guys, they are all troublesome existences. Sabo, you were arrested by those nasty Marines, right? Ace, I will rescue you. Now that I have restored my memory, I will never sit idly by. Portka's D. Ace, you two idiots, don't come here, it's very dangerous here. Monkey D. Luffy, I will definitely go. Sabo, I will definitely go too. Poor Uzalino, what a headache. Is there another strong man going to participate in this war? Gall D. Roger, ha ha ha, this war is really exciting. Don't worry, Ace, I will save you even if I risk my life. Parallel world. Garp chased the red hair pirates for a whole day, but in the end he failed to catch up. Reluctantly, Garp returned to Windmill Village. Think I don't have Luffy? Garp crossed his arms on his chest and grinned. I thought about it before, but now I don't, Luffy replied. I thought about Garp before, because I wanted Garp to teach me observation Haki. But now he knows not only observation Haki, but also Conqueror'S Haki. What are you talking about, you brat? Grandpa, I made a special trip to see you, and you actually said you don't miss Grandpa. Hearing Luffy's answer, Garp suddenly became angry. Raises his fist and hits Luffy on the head, preparing to teach Luffy love. But when his fist was about to reach Luffy, Luffy activates observation Haki to avoid. What, you bastard, how dare you hide? Garp became even angrier when he saw this, and swung his fist faster, but this time he was still dodged. You guy. Seeing that his fist was dodged again, Garp became somewhat silent. But then he punched again faster than the last time. This time, Luffy managed to avoid it even though it was dangerous. Wait, what's going on? Can you avoid my fist? Garp is completely confused. The first time he swung his punch, Garp swung it at a very slow speed, so he was not surprised that Luffy was able to dodge it. Punching for the second time, Garp increased his speed. Luffy's ability to dodge made Garp a little surprised, but not surprised. The third time he punched, Garp was a little serious, but he didn't dodge yet. This made Garp stunned for a moment. What happened? My strength has declined significantly at such a young age. Can my 5-year-old grandson dodge my fist? Garp began to doubt himself. Using observation Haki, I can still barely avoid your fist, Luffy said. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 37 Roger. I wouldn't be surprised if Luffy became the Pirate King tomorrow. What? You learned observation Haki? Garp was shocked. He remembered that he didn't teach Luffy observation Haki at all. Yes. Who taught you this? Shanks. That brat with red hair? I really didn't expect him to do such a thing, but Luffy, listen up, pirates are all bad people. Don't think that the brat with red hair taught you observation Haki just because you think he is a good person. You saw it yesterday, these bastards are so abominable, they actually attacked innocent civilians, Garp said angrily. Those fainting villagers were not caused by Shanks and the others. Luffy shook his head. Not the red-haired brat, who could that be? Garp frowned slightly and said thoughtfully, I did it. Hearing Luffy's words, Garp was stunned for a moment, then veins popped out on his forehead. He clenched his fists and said angrily, Did that hateful red-haired brat actually brainwash my grandson into being like this? Obviously, they were the ones who hurt the villagers, but they actually forced and instigated my grandson to take responsibility. I was still wondering if that brat said something to you before he left, but it turned out to be this. I will never forgive him. I will never forgive that brat. When I get to New World, I will make them pay the price. Garp's whole body was full of momentum. You can imagine how angry he was at this moment. Garp believes that the people who knocked out the villagers are definitely red hair pirates. After all, no matter what, Garp doesn't think that with Luffy's character, he would take action against innocent villagers. Garp guesses that this is what happened. Red hair pirates takes action and injures a villager, then discovers that Garp has arrived. When the red-haired Shanks left, he asked Luffy to take the responsibility this time. This was because he did not want the red hair pirates to become enemies with Garp. But actually, the red-haired Shanks said that Luffy should take care of Yuta. However, the distance was far away at that time, and the red-haired Shanks spoke softly, so Garp did not hear clearly. Of course, the most important thing is that Garp did not turn on observation Haki at the time. If it was turned on, you would definitely be able to hear it. But observation Haki is an active skill, not a passive skill. It can only be activated by a person who remains rational and rational. At that time, Garp was so angry when he saw the red-haired Shanks touching his grandson that he couldn't open observation Haki at all. I really did it, Grandpa. Stop talking, I know they forced you, Luffy, but you don't have to be afraid, Grandpa. I am a very strong Marine. So you don't have to be afraid of that red-haired kid. I will make them pay the price, and let them do it from now on. Don't dare to take another step closer to Windmill Village. This brat actually dares to threaten my grandson. It seems that it is necessary to apply to Sengoku for some troops. The red hair pirates must suffer heavy losses. This is his only grandson, Garp. Guessing that the red-haired Shanks threatened his grandson, Garp can be said to be extremely angry and will definitely make the red hair pirates pay the price, and even start a war. Razoroo, hey Garp, you bastard, don't talk so scary. Yassop, that's too much, Garp. We have been so good to Luffy, and you actually plan to apply for troops from above and prepare to make us red hair pirates pay the price. Red-haired Shanks, hey, good people are always misunderstood. Monkey D. Garp, I didn't understand the truth. Ben Beckman, don't be so scary next time, Garp. In that timeline of the parallel world, the red hair pirates have not yet reached their peak. I'm afraid just one Garp will make them drink a bottle. After all, that was the black-haired Garp, whose physical strength, condition, and strength were all at their peak. If Garp really asks for troops to kill them, the red hair pirates will definitely suffer the consequences. Kaido of the Beasts. Is this old guy Garp so doting on his grandson? Didn't he just guess that the red-haired brat threatened his grandson, and he actually planned to start a war with the red hair pirates? Quinn, it's a good chance that Straw Hat Kid joined Marine. If he did join Marine, the pirate fought with Straw Hat Kid today, and Straw Hat Kid was injured. Tomorrow Garp will directly lead his army to destroy him. If Luffy were a pirate, Garp would not be able to protect him at will due to the positions of both parties. But if Luffy is a Marine, Garp can dote on Luffy unscrupulously. It's just like Garp's apprentice Kebai. When he was captured on Beehive Island, Garp rushed there with his people. In the end, if it weren't for Kirby's delay, Garp would never have been attacked by a sneak attack, and he would have been able to retreat safely. He can do this to his own disciples. One can imagine how much he will pamper his own grandson. Prospero, I also feel now that Straw Hat made the right choice to become a pirate. Otherwise, if Luffy were Marine, who the hell would dare to fight Luffy? Seeing that Garp didn't listen to his explanation, Luffy didn't talk nonsense. Instead, I felt the power in my body with my heart and activated Conqueror'S Haki again. Since I ate rubber fruit yesterday, I accidentally activated Conqueror'S Haki. After Luffy experienced some growth with Makino, he can now successfully control Conqueror'S Haki freely. Luffy couldn't help but sigh, is this what is called growing up? I saw a terrifying aura, with Luffy as the center, quickly spreading in all directions. But Luffy was also trying his best to control Conqueror'S Haki not to affect it too far. Only Garp feels this Haki. After feeling the sudden pressure from Conqueror'S, Garp froze on the spot. He looks around, trying to find the source of Conqueror'S Haki. Finally, he set his sights on Luffy. He was stunned for a few seconds, staring at Luffy in disbelief, and said in surprise, Is this Conqueror'S Haki? It is different from some people who accidentally activate Conqueror'S Haki due to stimulation. Garp knows that this is Conqueror'S Haki released by Luffy on his own initiative. Yes, yesterday I accidentally awakened Conqueror'S Haki, so I accidentally stunned the villagers, but today I can skillfully release it. Luffy explained. Byandy walled. Wait, what's going on? He just accidentally awakened Conqueror'S Haki yesterday, and can he master it today? He's even mastered it, and only spreads the release range of Conqueror'S Haki near Garp. Instead of like yesterday, how could it be so uncontrollably affected so far? Douglas Bullet. Hey, what's going on with this guy? How could someone master Conqueror'S Haki to this level in just one day after awakening it? Awakening Conqueror'S Haki is one thing. It's one thing to gain initial proficiency with Conqueror'S Haki. For example, Luffy in their world accidentally awakened Conqueror'S Haki for the first time on Nine Snakes Island, and released it again during Summit War. But after training with Rayleigh for more than a year, Luffy successfully mastered Conqueror'S Haki. And what about Luffy in the parallel world? It only took 1 day to do it. Gall D. Roger, I feel like with how monster this guy is, I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes the Pirate King tomorrow. Chapter 38 Sengoku is Numb, Garp gives Luffy, the 5-year-old Conqueror and #039, Haki to the Bandit. Monkey D. Luffy, you guys keep talking about Haki, what exactly is Haki? Achoku, the Straw Hat Boy in our world has a bounty of 300 million bali, but he doesn't even know what Haki is, and the Straw Hat Boy in that world has mastered Conqueror's Haki at the age of 5. Rox D. Zebek, are these really the same person? Is the gap a bit too big? Charlotte Linlin, are you kidding? You can't even know what Haki is, right? Katakuri, Mom, he really doesn't know what Haki is, because when Luffy in the previous world released armament Haki at the age of 5, he asked what Haki was in the chat room. Charlotte Linlin, do I need you to remind me Katakuri? Katakuri, Kaido of the Beasts, Haki is the most powerful force in this world. It is a power that can surpass everything. At your age, I can already master the 2-color Haki, kid. Quinn, as expected of Kaido boss. Jack, boss Kaido is so awesome. Jaehin, Kaido is the most powerful person in the world. Marco, that's all right. Don't compete with the Straw Hat Boys in our world. Compete with the Straw Hat Boys in that world. Jaws, what you mean is that you mastered the 2-color Haki when you were a teenager, right? But the Straw Hat Boy in that world mastered the Conqueror's Haki at the age of 5. Bista, go and compete with the Straw Hat Kid in that world, and I will obey you, Kaido. Kaido of the Beasts, I won't compete with him, I will compete with the Straw Hats in our world. Parallel world. Hahaha, Conqueror's Haki. My grandson mastered Conqueror's Haki at the age of 5, hahaha. Garp was shocked and stunned for a moment. A rich smile suddenly appeared on his face, and he hugged Luffy tightly in excitement. A little out of breath, Grandpa, Luffy protested. Hearing this, Garp let go of Luffy and asked excitedly, that means you have mastered Conqueror's Haki now, right? Yes, Luffy nodded. Okay. Our monkey family actually gave birth to a monster like you. Your qualifications are better than Grandpa and stronger than your father. There is no doubt that you will be able to stand at the top of Marine in the future. Garp was so excited that he couldn't open his mouth from ear to ear. I don't want to be a Marine, I want to be free. Luffy shook his head. Being a Marine is also very free, Luffy. Look at Grandpa. I can do whatever I want, as much freedom as I want. Garp pointed at himself with a big grin. Really? Luffy doubted. If you were really free, you wouldn't come to see me every few months, or even once every 6 months. Why are you lying to me? Marine can be said to be the most free position in the world. As long as you can reach Grandpa's level, you can become as free as Grandpa. Garp said slowly. Bulu bulu. Bulu bulu. As soon as Garp finished speaking, the phone on his waist rang. Hello, this is Garp. Garp picked up the phone. Garp, there is a serious situation in New World. Kaido has contacted Whitebeard. Go to New World immediately. Sengoku shouted. What I'll? Garp was about to say go immediately, but he suddenly swallowed his words and glanced at Luffy. Luffy spread his hands and looked at Garp helplessly. As if to say, where does the freedom come from being a Marine? I'm on vacation right now, Sengoku. You can find someone else to do this, such as Sakazuki, Porozalino, and Kyuzin. Garp refused. Vacation? What kind of vacation? The orders from superiors are absolute. Rush to New World, Garp, immediately. The situation this time will be countless times more serious than we imagined, and all 3 of them you mentioned are there. There are other important tasks. Sengoku scolded. But, hurry up, Garp. Otherwise you won't be allowed to eat donuts in my office from now on, Senbei. Sengoku hung up the phone immediately after saying that. Looking at the bug who hung up the phone, Garp's face became serious. Then he turned his attention to Luffy, suddenly smiled and said, Luffy, Grandpa has some personal matters to deal with, and I can't stay with you anymore. It's probably because of the orders from above, Luffy said. How could it be? It's Grandpa's own private matter, not an order from a superior at all. Garp shook his head. I want to be a pirate grandfather, I want freedom, I don't want to be a Marine. What, you bastard, actually want to be a pirate? It's against you. After Garp finished speaking, he raised his fist and prepared to attack Luffy, but Luffy dodged it. But Garp then punched again. This time the punch was very fast. Luffy did not dodge. The fist hit Luffy's head hard. Really? Listen, Luffy, you want to be the strongest Marine. Garp said seriously. No, I said I want to be free. Luffy shook his head. You. Hearing Luffy's words, Garp raised his fist angrily and prepared to smash it down again. But after seeing Luffy's determined eyes, Garp sighed helplessly. No, I won't allow you to become a pirate. Come with me, I will take you to a place. Garp brought Luffy to Daden's territory and entrusted Luffy to Daden. Let Daden educate Luffy well and correct his idea of becoming a pirate. Sengoku of Buddha, Garp, are you a fool? You brought your grandson to naval headquarters and let us take care of him. Why did you give him to the bandits? Will giving him to the bandits correct his idea of becoming a pirate? Luffy, in their world, was going to become a pirate and was given to a bandit by Garp. Sengoku endured it because he knew that Garp was not very good in his mind. But he never expected that Garp in another world would also give Luffy to the bandits. That's a 5-year-old monster who has mastered Conqueror'S Haki. Are you going to give it to the bandits to take care of? You should send it to naval headquarters and let the righteous Marine change Luffy's mind. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 39 Parallel World Ace turns into Luffy fanboy instantly. Kyuzin, it's over, it's over. The Straw Hat Boy in that world is definitely going to become a pirate and is no longer able to revolving heaven. After all, how can a bandit help a pirate correct his dream and become a Marine? Poor Uzalino, do I still have to bear what I should have to bear? I hope that in that world, I will try my best not to have contact with the Straw Hat Kid. Kong, it's really yours, Garp. Tell me the truth. Did you deliberately let your grandson become a pirate? Monkey D. Garp, you are wronging me, Kongo. My dream is to make my grandson the strongest soldier in the Marine Corps. Sengoku of Buddha, stop talking nonsense. If you really want your grandson to become a Marine, why don't you send him to naval headquarters? If you are sick in this world, why are you still sick in the parallel world? Monkey D. Garp this, hahaha, I forgot about it. Crane. Sakazuki. Gal D. Roger, that's great, Garp. Although I also think that Luffy in that world will definitely follow the path of a pirate, but I'm not 100% sure, only 99% at most. But after you gave it to a group of bandits, I felt completely relieved. Pluton Silver Rayleigh, yeah, well done, Garp. Copper Jabba, you're a hero, Garp. Marco, isn't Garp a hero? Jaws, Garp was the hero of the Marines before, but now he is the hero of our pirates. Monkey D. Garp, get out, you bastard pirates. Parallel world. Garp left quickly after handing Luffy to Daden. Although Daden was reluctant, he was afraid of Garp's iron fist, so he could only leave Luffy behind. And soon, Ace, who had just woken up from the room, also walked out. Looking at Garp's leaving back, he looked at Luffy and asked, "What is your relationship with that old man?" "He is my grandfather," Luffy replied. Really? Ace's face turned cold when he heard this. Since he is the old man's son, he must become a Marine in the future, right? What are you doing here? Are you trying to persuade me to become a Marine too? I don't want to be a Marine. Ace left these words and ignored Luffy. Luffy also ignored Ace. Hey Ace, the food is almost finished. Go hunting and bring back some food, Daden reminded. I see. Ace nodded. Although Ace is still very young now, he still has the blood of Roger, the Pirate King. He is somewhat powerful. I'll go with you, I happen to be a little hungry too, Luffy said. You'll get hurt, you'd better not go. Ace glanced at him and warned. It's just some wild beast, it can't hurt me. Luffy spread his hands. Whatever. After Ace left these words, he began to look for wild beasts in the jungle. And Luffy followed him leisurely. A boom. At this moment, the jungle suddenly shook, and an extremely huge saber-toothed tiger rushed out of the jungle. Oops, it's the saber-toothed tiger, the overlord of the forest, run. Ace suddenly broke into a cold sweat when when he saw the saber-toothed tiger appearing. Although he can deal with ordinary beasts, he cannot deal with such behemoths. But as Ace's voice fell, something even more surprising happened to Ace. Because I saw Luffy approaching the saber-toothed tiger, he knocked it to the ground with one punch, making it unable to get up again. Why are you running? It's just a beast of this level. After knocking over the saber-toothed tiger, Luffy turned back to look at Ace and said, You. Ace was completely stunned when he saw the scene in front of him. What's the situation? So strong. Is that the saber-toothed tiger, one of the overlords in the jungle? Knocked down by his punch. Impossible. He is younger than me, but is he already so powerful? What's wrong? Luffy asked, confused. May I have your name? Ace remembered that he hadn't asked Luffy his name yet. Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy. My name is Portkas D. Ace. You can also call me Ace. So what? What kind of power did you use just now? I saw that your arms and fists were covered with something black like paint. What is that? Ace asked curiously. Armament Haki. Can you teach me? I also want to become as powerful as you, Ace requested. In the beginning, Ace did not like Luffy, because he feels that he and Luffy will take different paths in the future. And at the same time, he doesn't want to be related to Luffy, fearing that the other party will persuade him to become a marine or something. But now that he sees how powerful Luffy is, he doesn't care whether Luffy will persuade him to become a marine or something. Now he just wants to become as powerful as Luffy. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 40 Parallel World. Luffy is so charming, who wouldn't be confused after watching it? Achoku, the Portkas D. Ace of this world, is quite capable. When he saw that Luffy was stronger than him, he instantly became a fanboy. John, good guy, the ace in our world, ignored Straw Hat Boy when he was a child. But in that parallel world, the two of them had only known each other for less than a day, and Ace actively wanted to be friends with Straw Hat Boy. Silver Axe, this is the importance of strength. It took two people a long time to become friends, but now they can chat in just a moment. Byandy Wald, this is normal. If I had seen someone releasing power beyond my imagination when I was a child, I would have admired him. Luffy is younger than Ace. He directly released Armament Haki and killed the saber-toothed tiger with one punch. Ace thought it was completely impossible to defeat him. I believe that at that moment, Luffy had already changed in Ace's mind. I can already treat him as a godlike existence. Parallel world. Sorry, I don't have time to teach you. Luffy refused. He is not familiar with Ace, so why should he teach Ace Haki? If I were to teach Ace Haki, wouldn't I be wasting my own training time? Yes, is that so? Hearing Luffy's words, Ace felt a little disappointed. He also wants to become as powerful as Luffy, but now Luffy rejects him. Of course, he couldn't continue to force it. Tug this beast back. Luffy pointed at the saber-toothed tiger that fell to the ground. I can't do this alone. I'll ask Daden and the others to come over. Ace shook his head. Ace's current age is less than 10 years old. Facing a beast that is dozens of times larger than himself, even if he has the bloodline of Roger, the Pirate King, it is impossible to drag this beast back. Then I'll leave it to you. I'll kill a few more beasts. I see. After Ace left these words, he planned to go back to find Daden. Luffy, on the other hand, wrapped his arms and fists around Haki and attacked the saber-toothed tiger's head with force, ensuring the opponent's complete death. Ace left and ran back quickly, shouting breathlessly, "No, it's not good, Luffy. I saw a little girl with white and red hair in the jungle. A very large elephant is chasing me." A little girl with white and red hair. Luffy was slightly startled when he heard this. But the next second he realized, isn't this Yuta? Luffy quickly turned on observation Haki and began to search for Yuta's location. It was not that far away, and he quickly realized it. Luffy quickly releases the terrifying Conqueror'S Haki from the air. An astonishing momentum centered on Luffy and quickly spread in all directions. The terrifying pressure was like a torrent and instantly covered all the beasts in the jungle. After doing all this, Luffy quickly came to the scene. I saw Yuta sitting on the ground with a frightened expression, holding a lunchbox in his hand, looking at the fallen giant elephant in front of him. Are you okay, Yuta? Luffy asked with concern. Yuta is the red-haired Shanks' daughter after all. The red-haired Shanks treated him well, teaching him observation Haki, and giving him god-level fruits to help him awaken Conqueror'S Haki. Luffy naturally kept these kindnesses in mind. The red-haired Shanks asked him to take care of Yuta before leaving. So Luffy naturally can't let anything happen to Yuta. Otherwise, red-haired Shanks wouldn't be able to explain it. Road, Luffy. Seeing Luffy appear, Yuta threw herself into Luffy's arms and cried loudly. Luffy gently stroked Yuta's hair and asked with concern, "Why are you here too, Yuta?" "Sister Makino, the meal is ready. I went out to look for you and went back to eat. Then I saw you being taken to the back mountain by a very fierce-looking man. I was worried, so I chased you to see you, but on the way I was lost. Thank you for coming to save me, and by the way, I brought you a lunch box." Yuta handed the lunch box in his arms to Luffy and said, "Thank you very much." Luffy took the lunch box and said gratefully. Yuta knew that there were many wild beasts in the back mountains, but because he was worried about himself, he still ran over to see him. This point can be said to make Luffy very touched. Hey. Hearing Luffy's thanks, Yuta felt that all the dangers she encountered were worth it. Especially throwing yourself in Luffy's arms like this, how comfortable it is. Achoku, what a guy. This couple is in true love. John, because I can't worry about the Straw Hat Boy, the little girl named Yuta went to the dangerous back mountain with her lunch box to look for the Straw Hat Boy. This is really enviable. When will I have someone who loves me like this? Woman. Silver Axe, that's pretty much it. It doesn't matter what you are like. In terms of strength, talent, and appearance, what kind of Straw Hat Boy do you have that can match that world? Without this premise, you would never meet someone like Yuta, a girl S. Quinn, goddess, my goddess. Jack, brother Quinn, I always feel that the Straw Hat Boy in that world matches well with Yuta. You should forget about her. He matches Yuta better than you. Quinn, I found out that you really want to die, Jack. I will definitely kill you, just wait for me. Jack. Red-haired Shanks, it was so dangerous. My daughter was almost in danger. I really have to thank Luffy from that world. Razor, thanks to Luffy in that world having Conqueror'S Haki. Without Conqueror'S Haki, I'm afraid it would be too late to rush to the scene to save Yuta. Ben Beckman, the Luffy of that world really mastered the use of Conqueror'S Haki. He released Haki from a long distance and only exerted pressure on the beast, but did not harm Ace and Yuta around him. It's unimaginable. This is a man who just awakened Conqueror'S Haki yesterday. Marco, now I know why the Straw Hat Boy in that world is so popular with women. After all, he is so powerful and feels so safe. Is that woman confused after seeing him? I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 40, one Luffy actually became Ace and Sabo'S big brother. Byandy Wald. Seeing the Straw Hats in our world made me deeply realize how big the gap between them is. Douglas Bullet. The Luffy of our world has not yet become familiar with Portka's D Ace, and is bullied by the beasts in the jungle. However, the Straw Hat Kid in that parallel world has already made Portka's D Ace, SD Ace has become his little fanboy, and can walk sideways through the jungle of beasts. Trafalgar Law. But this is not because the Straw Hat Master is too weak. It's just because the Straw Hat Boy in that world is too strong. The Luffy of their world is, after all, a monster with a bounty of 300 million billy. He is the man with the second highest bounty among the 11 supernovas. A man of this level cannot be called weak. You can even use the title monster. But Luffy from another world. It can no longer be called a human being, nor can it be called a monster. Because he is a monster himself, why does he need to be called a monster again? Uruj, Luffy in that world was incredibly powerful. If we in the other world didn't reach half of his strength, I'm afraid we wouldn't be worthy of being called a supernova with him. By the way, thank you by the way. Your name is Portka's D Ace, right? Luffy glanced at Ace and thanked him. If it weren't for Ace discovering Yuta in danger, I'm afraid he won't drive the observation Haki idle at all. Let's go observe the situation in the back mountain. After all, a group of beasts that cannot threaten you are not worthy of Luffy's observation Haki. The consequence of this is that Yuta is likely to be killed. Yes, just call me Ace. Ace nodded. If you want to learn Haki, I can teach you. Think of this as repaying Ace. And Luffy feels that he needs to get along with Ace for a long time, so that the relationship will not be so tense. Really? Ace suddenly became excited when he heard this. Soon, Luffy took Yuta and Ace to kill a lot of beasts in the back mountain and brought them all back. Everyone gathered together to have a big meal. Also, Ace also introduced another friend of his to Luffy, namely Sabo. After a brief contact and chat, the three of them discovered that all their wishes were to become pirates. Facing the three people who were in love with each other, Sabo proposed that the three of them become brothers. Luffy did not refuse. After all, he felt that he got along well with these two people. In this way, before it got dark, they found a bottle of wine and prepared to hold a sworn ceremony. If we become sworn brothers, who among the three of us will be the eldest brother? Sabo asked doubtfully. Normally speaking, the oldest person should be the eldest brother, but if the three of us become sworn brothers, it will be based on strength. Luffy is the strongest, he is the eldest brother, and I am the second brother. You are the third brother, Ace suggested. Is he very strong? Sabo was slightly startled when he heard Ace's words, because he always thought Ace was a very strong man, but he didn't expect that he would recommend Luffy as the boss. At this time, he couldn't help but become curious about Luffy's strength. Very powerful, he defeated all the beasts we ate just now. Moreover, the saber-toothed tigers and giant elephants we had to run away from whenever we encountered them in the jungle were all knocked down by him with one punch. Ace nodded. Is this so strong? Hearing Ace's words, Sabo couldn't help but swallowed, his face full of surprise. Because he looked at Luffy's age, as if he was younger than himself. But I didn't expect that the strength would be exaggerated to such an extent. Well, let him be the big brother. Sabo finally agreed and made Luffy, who was younger than him, the eldest among the three of them. In this way, the three of them drank the sworn wine and became three brothers. You will be my brothers from now on. I will teach you Haki and other powers. If you encounter danger on the sea, come to me. Luffy looked at the two of them and said seriously. Luffy has no other friends, only these two friends. Although they have only been together for a day so far, Luffy does not hate them. As for Yuta, Yuta has been arguing that she is his wife, not an ordinary friend. Monkey D. Luffy, I actually became Ace and Sabo's big brother. Sabo, this is really a surprising scene. Luffy, who needs our protection in our world, has become our big brother in that world. Portka's D. Ace, there is no way Luffy in that world is too strong. In our world we can protect Luffy, but in that world Luffy may need to protect us. Monkey D. Luffy, I will definitely protect your Ace, Sabo. Achoku, is this the benefit of strength? He was originally the youngest straw hat boy among the three brothers, but in that world, he suddenly became Fire Fist Ace, the eldest brother of the Revolutionary Army Sabo. Rox D. John, I don't know if in the future of that parallel world, Marine will capture Portka's D. Ace and start the Summit War. If that's the case, it would be very interesting for a straw hat boy of that level to participate in such a war. Byandy Wald, don't be stupid in that parallel world Marine. If you really dare to capture that straw hat boy's younger brother, Portka's D. Ace, you will face disaster. Golden Lion Shiki, Jai hahaha, I'm looking forward to it. In that parallel world, you should hurry up and capture Straw Hat's younger brother. I would like to see how you Marine plan to end it. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 42, Yuta broke into the relationship between Luffy and Makino, but unfortunately she couldn't. Sakazuki, don't underestimate us Marines, you bastard pirates. Kyuzin, ah la la, there must be a limit to underestimating us Marine. Kaido of the Beasts, that's almost it. As for looking so highly at that Straw Hat Boy, when the Summit War started in our world, the Straw Hat Boy was only a teenager. If that world also started a Summit War, the teenage Straw Hat Boy would how strong can it be? Can it be strong enough to change the situation of the war? Charlotte Linlin, Mama, it is undeniable that the Straw Hat Boy in that world was indeed a terrifying monster, but as a teenager, I don't think he could reach our level. If not, for a war of the magnitude of the Summit War would have no impact. Summit War is as strong as the clouds. Naval Headquarters 3 Admiral, Garp, Sengoku, all are Admiral level. Without Admiral level combat power, it will not have any impact on this war. D. Roger, don't talk so early. You too mastered Conqueror'S Haki at the age of 5. You have already proven how powerful Luffy is in that world. Maybe such a talented person can really be in his teens. Years old, I have the fighting power to stand side by side with you. Red Earl Baloric Redfield, Roger, did you laugh when you said this? On this sea, the peak period of top powerhouses is basically over 40 years old. Such is the Battle of the Valley of Gods that shocked the world. At that time, Garp, Edward Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki, Charlotte Linlin, Gall D. Roger, and others were all in their 40s. Another example is Marine 3 Admiral, Porzolino, Kuzan, and Sakazuki. They all became admirals of naval headquarters when they were in their 40s. As for Luffy in that parallel world, his talent is indeed that of a monster. It can even be said to be far beyond them. But it would be too fanciful to want to have the power of a general in his teens. You know, the further you go, the harder it is to improve your strength. Pluton Silver Rayleigh. As for whether the Summit War will break out in that parallel world, or what level Luffy's strength will be when the Summit War breaks out, no one can predict this kind of thing, and it is meaningless to discuss these things. Unplayed video. Parallel world. After Luffy, Sabo, and Ace successfully became sworn brothers, they returned to Daden's base. As soon as he returned to the room, Luffy noticed Makino. Sister Makino, why are you here? Luffy said in surprise. Sister is here to see you, little Luffy. Makino stroked Luffy's hair and pinched Luffy's face. I want to pinch it too. Yuta saw this and pinched the other side of Luffy's face. Really, why is my place so busy? Daden couldn't help complaining. Makino glanced at the beast carcass placed in the yard and suggested, Speaking of which, it's almost night, let me cook for you. Just right, it also saves me the trouble. Daden nodded. I have finished what I made for lunch. If you want to eat it now, you have to make it again. Give it to me. Makino nodded. Without hesitation, she began to process the beast's carcass, and soon a large amount of food was ready. A group of people started looting frantically. Aren't you going to eat, Sister Makino? Luffy glanced at her and asked. No need, I have other things I want to eat. Makino wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth and looked at Luffy with some evil intentions. When Luffy was almost finished eating, Makino said, Luffy, do you want to go somewhere with your sister? Where? You'll know when you go. It's a bit dark at night. You should go with your sister. After all, aren't you very strong and can protect your sister? Oh well. Luffy nodded. Just like that, Makino brought Luffy outside the house. Yuta glanced at the two of them, then puffed up her face. Really, where are the two of them going? No. I'm worried. I also need to go. In this way, after Yuta ate some food, she quietly followed behind the two of them. The other side. Makino took Luffy to a remote place. What are you bringing me here for, Makino-sama? Luffy looked around in confusion. It was very quiet here and far away from Daden's territory. My sister cooked for you just now. Now it's your turn to repay her. My sister is very hungry now. Makino smirks and takes off Luffy's clothes. Then he started to behave in unhealthy ways. You, what are you doing? At this moment, Yuta suddenly found the two of them. Seeing the scene in front of her, Yuta suddenly blushed with embarrassment. But at the same time, she was also a little angry. Good guy. You actually did such a thing secretly behind your back. Forget it if you took away my first kiss. I didn't expect that even Luffy's virginity was taken away by you. Too abominable. Yuta. Seeing Yuta appear, Makino and Luffy were both stunned. Why are you here, Yuta? Luffy asked. Humph, I followed you secretly. I didn't expect that you would be doing such a thing. It's really unhealthy, Yuta said angrily. Would you like to come to Yuta together? Makino suggested to Yuta while exercising. This is not good. Yuta covered her face and said a little shyly. If you don't want to, then go back first, but don't tell anyone else. Makino made a shushing gesture towards Yuta. No, I don't want to go back. Hearing Makino's words, Yuta shook his head repeatedly. Then join in, Makino suggested. Anyway, Makino doesn't want her relationship with Luffy to be exposed. Just drag Yuta into the water. After all, she can also see that Yuta is also very attached to Luffy and likes Luffy very much. This. Yuta swallowed while shyly, but a little excitedly approaching the two of them step by step. However, Yuta took courage and joined in. But she is too young and has not yet matured. So no matter what you think, there is no way to get in. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 43, The Agreement Between Luffy and Yuta. Woo woo woo. Yuta couldn't help it and started crying. Obviously, everyone has made up his mind. Unexpectedly, I was still hindered by my age. This is Yuta's first time, and she wants to grow up quickly. For the first time in my life, I hate myself for being so young. There seems to be no way. Yuta is too young. We can only do such things in the future. Makino said with a hint of regret. Although Luffy is young and immature, he can do such things because he has the power of rubber fruit and can expand and grow longer. But Yuta is completely out of control. Damn, I'm so unwilling. Yuta looked at the two people helplessly, but there was nothing he could do. Luffy, can you use armament Haki? Makino said with a rosy face. Luffy nodded, then wrapped himself around armament Haki. Then Makino's face turned even redder. I want to participate too. Although I can't get in, it doesn't mean there are no other ways to be happy. Just like that, a few hours passed. Makino, Yuta, Luffy, and others returned to Daden's cabin one after another. At this time, Daden and others have fallen asleep. Only Ace and Sabo are still awake, because they can't worry about a few people. Luffy, great, you are finally back. I thought you were in some danger. Ace and Sabo both breathed a sigh of relief when they saw a few people coming back. Thank you for your concern. We have been out for a long time. We came back to tell you that Luffy and Yuta will stay in my room from now on. After all, Luffy can't squeeze in enough space to live here. Makino caressed his rosy face, which was still full of emotions, and held Luffy's little hand. Ah, are you leaving? Hearing this, Ace and Sabo were a little disappointed. They still wanted to sleep here with Luffy. It's okay. I'll be back tomorrow, but I'll sleep at Sister Makino's house at night, Luffy said. Oh well. Neither Ace nor Sabo refused. They nodded. Videos that can be played. Not long after, the Red Hair Pirates returned to Windmill Village. Prepare to pick up Yuta. Yuta, thank you for taking care of Luffy these days. Red-haired Shanks thanked him. It's not a troublesome thing. Luffy shook his head slightly. Really, thanks anyway. Come on, Yuta. It's time for us to start a new adventure. Red-haired Shanks was about to take Yuta away, but unexpectedly Yuta resisted and said, No, I don't want to leave Windmill Village. I want to stay with Luffy. Don't you like to follow our adventures the most, Yuta? The red-haired Shanks said, slightly startled. I don't want to take risks. I want to stay with Luffy. The words fall. Yuta grabbed Luffy's arm tightly and wouldn't let go. Razoroo, hey boss, did I hear you correctly? Yuta actually said he didn't want to take risks. Yasop, it's incredible. I remember that Yuta's favorite thing was to go on adventures with us. She was the most excited every time we set sail. Ben Beckman, it seems that in the place where the projected video is not played, the Yuta in the parallel world is completely obsessed with Luffy. In fact, this is not surprising. After all, the Yuta confessed to Luffy just after they met him. It's enough to show how much Yuta likes Luffy. Red-haired Shanks, hey, my little cotton-padded jacket Yuta is leaking after all. Yuta. It would be great if the Luffy in our world could be as powerful and reliable as the Luffy in the parallel world. Why? I'm also a little obsessed with that Luffy now. Marco, Why didn't that guy Quinn yell about my goddess in the chat room this time? Josie, I'm not used to him suddenly not getting sick. Jack, Brother Quinn just fainted from crying. Bista, good guy, that's what it is, I say. This. Seeing Yuta like this, the red hair pirates were suddenly at a loss. This is just a short farewell, Yuta. I will go find you when I go to sea. Luffy rubbed Yuta's hair and said. Really? Yuta said with tears in her eyes. Of course, by the time I find you, I will probably be the freest man in the world. Then we can be together every day. Luffy nodded. After all, I have been with Yuta for several months. Luffy also has some feelings for her, although he doesn't want to let Yuta leave. However, Luffy knows that he needs to continue to become stronger, so he will continue to challenge the strong. At this time, there is no way to keep Yuta with him. Then we've made an appointment. Yuta stretched out his index finger and said, Yes, we have an appointment. Luffy also stretched out his index finger to hook Yuta. You must come to me. Yuta hugged Luffy for the last time, reluctantly said goodbye to him, boarded the Red Hair Pirate's ship, and started a new adventure. Chapter 44, Original World. Luffy was beaten violently as a child. Achoku. It's an enviable scene, having a private life with a beautiful woman, this is it. Vinsmoke Sanji. Ooh. Quinn female, goddess my goddess. Jaws, Quinn feels like he's about to die no matter how much he talks. Jack, Brother Quinn just woke up from crying and saw the scene, where the Straw Hat Boy and Yuta made a private decision for life again. Quinn, Jack, you bastard, don't tell me everything. John, in short, this Yuta has been included in the harem group by the Straw Hat Boy in the parallel world in advance. Silver Axe, she was so cute when she was a child. I can't even imagine how beautiful she will be when she grows up. Straw Hat is too happy. Byandy Wald, fortunately, the Straw Hat Boy in our world had a really miserable life when he was a child. When I think of this, I feel like I have found comfort. Red Earl Baloric Redfield, it is undeniable that I also feel the same way. A miserable childhood should be the hallmark of a strong man. As for the Straw Hat Boy in that world, don't regard him as a human being. That's it. Marco, but having said that, you can never compare yourself to the Straw Hat Boy from the parallel world, because no matter what you compare with, you will never be able to compare with him. You are just asking for trouble. Rox D. Buddha's Sengoku, sometimes you have to look for your own reasons, whether you look too scary or whether you are too cruel to others. Really, I don't even know how you asked this question. Rox D. Zebek, you guy. Original World. Luffy tried to chat with Ace for several months to no avail, so he chose to continue following Ace. He discovered that Ace had saved a lot of money with Sabo. All of this money was obtained by robbing pirates. The purpose is to have money to buy a boat when I go to sea in the future. Soon, Ace discovered Luffy who was following him, and together with Sabo, tied Luffy to a tree. Not long after, a group of pirates arrived. This pirate group is Mr. Blue's fifth pirate group. Because Ace stole their pirate group's money, they came to seek revenge. After seeing them coming, Ace quickly untied Luffy. However, Luffy was still captured by these pirates, and these pirates also knew that Luffy knew Sabo and Ace. Seeing this, Sabo and Ace thought Luffy would betray the place where they hid the money. They hurriedly hid the money, and until dusk, they did not find anyone from the Blue Mr. 5 pirates entering the jungle again. This made them realize that Luffy might not have betrayed them. They rushed to rescue Luffy, who had been beaten violently all afternoon. After experiencing this incident, they also became friends. Monkey D. Garp, damn it, these bastard pirates dare to bully my precious grandson. Kuzin, ah la la, Straw Hat is so miserable. Crane, he was thrown into the abyss by Garp, thrown into the jungle of beasts, tied to a hot air balloon and flown into the sky, and then beaten to a shabby state by various beasts and bees, and now he was almost killed by pirates. Although the sea thieves don't deserve sympathy, but Straw Hat's life is indeed quite miserable. Buddha's Sengoku. Garp, under your care, it's truly a miracle that Straw Hat Boy can survive to this day. Kaido of the Beasts, grrrr, what a nice scene. Quinn, it's great, let you bastard kids steal my goddess Yuta. Original World. Sabo, ace after rescuing Luffy and defeating the members of Mr. Blue 5 pirates. Mr. Blue, the captain of the 5th pirate group, soon went out in person. They followed the noble's instructions and set fire to the garbage mountain. Then in the sea of fire, I met Luffy, Ace, and Sabo. Mr. Blue 5 grabbed Luffy and forced him to find out where Ace hid the money. Then I planned to kill a few people. But at the critical moment, Ace awakened Conqueror'S Haki and rescued Luffy. Gall D. Roger, Conqueror'S Haki. Ha ha ha, he is indeed my son. He has awakened Conqueror'S Haki at such an age. Pluton's Silver Rayleigh. Although it's not as good as the parallel world where Luffy awakened and mastered Conqueror'S Haki at the age of 5, but compared to us, it's amazing to be able to awaken Conqueror'S Haki at this age. Copper Jabba, in order to save Luffy, did he activate the potential in his body and accidentally release Conqueror'S Haki? It seems that they have become very good friends now. Monkey D. Luffy, hee hee. Thank you, Ace. If it weren't for you, I would have died at that time. Portka's D. Ace. It's right for an older brother to protect his younger brother. Although Ace awakened Conqueror'S Haki and stunned many pirates, Mr. Blue did not fall. Luffy, Ace, and Sabo are still no match. At an extremely critical moment, Daden appeared on the stage and successfully covered the 3 people's retreat. Monkey D. Garp, Daden, well done. Marco, it's really dangerous. If this woman hadn't appeared on the scene in time, Ace, Straw Hat, and that Revolutionary Army Sabo, all 3 of you would have died here. Daden, really, a bunch of brats who love to get into trouble. Portka's D. Ace, thanks a lot, old lady. Daden, shut up, don't call me an old woman, and remember to come back alive, Ace. Monkey D. Luffy, don't worry, I will definitely rescue Ace. Sabo, take me one. Roronoa Zoro, don't forget about me, Luffy. I now possess the world's greatest swordsman's swordsmanship. In such a battlefield where strong men gather, I can still fight. Gall D. Roger, I will definitely rescue you, wait for Dad. Portka's D. Ace, shut up, you are not my dad. There is only one dad, and that is Edward Newgate. Gall D. Roger, when I get you out, kill Newgate first. Edward Newgate, you bastard. Pluton's Silver Rayleigh. But having said that, I'm really curious now. In that parallel world, how will Luffy deal with the Mr. Blue 5 pirates? Copper Jabba, then you still need to ask. Once the other party dares to provoke them, the team will definitely be destroyed. Chapter 45 Mr. Blue, the 5 pirates are going to suffer. Parallel world. After seeing Yuta off, Luffy returned to the back mountain. In order to become the freest person in the sea, he must continue to become stronger. Also, by the way, I teach my 2 younger brothers, Ace and Sabo, to become stronger. Listen, Haki is the power that comes from the body. As long as there is a Haki power in the human body, it depends on whether you can sense the Haki power in the body. Luffy began to teach them seriously, the most powerful force in the world, which is Haki. A flash. A month has passed. Luffy's Conqueror'S Haki is a step closer. At the same time, he also helped Ace and Sabo learn and master the weapon color and observation Haki. As for Conqueror'S Haki, Luffy can't teach it. In other words, Conquerors cannot be taught by anyone. Because this power cannot be cultivated, you can only explore it on your own. Only when Ace and Sabo can awaken Conqueror'S Haki, Luffy can tell them some experience in controlling Conquerors. Great, I finally learned it. Armed color and observation Haki. This power is really powerful. After a month, the 2 finally learned the weapon color and observation Haki, not to mention how happy they were. Your talents are too poor. I'll teach you for a month before you can learn the art of seeing and hearing and armament Haki. Luffy couldn't help but sigh. Bandy Walled, what does it mean that it takes 1 month to learn armament Haki? Don't the Straw Hat boys in that world know how amazing this is? That's 1 month. Douglas Bullet, for us, this is surprising enough, but for the Straw Hat kid in that world, this is not surprising. After all, it only took him half a day to learn observation Haki, although he did not know that armament Haki was how long did it take to learn it, but I'm sure it won't take more than a day. Quinn, hey, are you kidding me? Those 2 brats are probably no more than 10 years old now, right? They can learn armament and observation Haki in 1 month. You know Ace and Sabo now. The two of them are less than 10 years old. When the body is not yet mature, it is several times more difficult than for adults to explore the power within the body, even more than 10 times. But even so, it only took them 1 month to learn the color of weapons and the color of knowledge. If they are learning Haki at an adult age, Quinn couldn't imagine how much they would short the learning time of these two Hakis. Achoku, although they are not as talented as Straw Hat Boy, these two can still be called veritable monsters. Although Ace and Sabo are indeed not as good as Luffy, but their talents have surpassed almost everyone else in their world. Jae-hin, no, this is not because those two guys are too talented, but because the Straw Hat Boys in that world are so good at teaching people. Marco, with monster-like talents, strength, and upper limit, and at the same time possessing a teaching ability that is almost beyond all humans, this guy really can't be called a human at all. Kyuzin, this guy seems to have trained Potka's D-Ace and the Revolutionary Army Sabo into monsters. Porzolino, it's getting more and more troublesome. In that parallel world, we will not only face the monster Straw Hat Boy, but also the large number of strong men he has trained. Sengoku of Buddha, Garp, why? Why did you have to be stupid and give him to the bandits in that parallel world? If you can let him join the naval headquarters, do you know how many monsters he can cultivate for us? Sengoku was numb with anger. Luffy's own combat power and talent alone are enough to influence the pattern of the world. And now they actually found out. Luffy also has strong teaching skills. If Luffy joins Marine, Sengoku doesn't know how happy it would be. Monkey D. Garp. Zephyr, terrible teaching ability. I have taught 800 students if not thousands, but I know I am not as good as him. As hard as it is to imagine, it's hard to admit. But Zephyr realized that Luffy in that world was really good at teaching. Portka's D-Ace, the younger brother in our world, is really amazing. Sabo, no, we should call Luffy in that world our big brother. Sabo, it's indeed scary. In this world, I have grown stronger under the guidance of Mr. Dragon and Mr. Big Bear since I was a child, but it also took a long, long time to learn the weapons and knowledge. Parallel world. A flash. 2 years have passed. Luffy has become stronger, and under his guidance, Ace and Sabo have also become stronger. I heard that there was a pirate group called Mr. Blue 5 nearby. They were a well-known pirate group nearby. I believe they had a lot of money. In order to have money to buy ships when they go to sea in the future, we destroyed them, robbed them of all their money. Luffy suggested while looking at Ace and Sabo. Achoku, good guy, this Mr. Blue Mr. 5 is going to be in bad luck. John, I kind of sympathize with this pirate group called Blue Mr. 5. At least they have had some success in our world, beating up the Straw Hat Kid, Portka's D-Ace, and the Revolutionary Army Sabo. But in the parallel world, they are probably going to be swept away directly. Silver Axe, I guess everyone in that pirate group is confused. There are 3 little brats who are only 10 years old. They are armed with the same color. Observation Haki, I don't even think Portka's D-Ace is needed at all. With that revolutionary when Sabo takes action, Straw Hat's current Conqueror'S Haki alone can stun them all into fainting. T. Dolphin, this is the first time I sympathize with a pirate group. Marco, this Mr. Blue 5 pirate group is going to suffer a lot. Josie, this pirate group can definitely be called one of the worst pirate groups. It's obvious that they haven't done anything yet, and they haven't offended Straw Hat yet. Anyone like Ace or Sabo will be punished. They just pushed it sideways. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 46 Ace. Don't use Conqueror'S when Luffy fights, otherwise they will all faint. Luffy's words were quickly agreed by Ace and Sabo. The 3 of them briefly inquired and found the base of Mr. Blue 5 pirates. Inside the room. No, it's not good, Captain Blue Mr. 5. 3 brats have rushed into our territory. A pirate reported in a panic. Idiot, didn't you see that I was eating? 3 brats couldn't stop me. What do you do for food? A bunch of trash, Mr. Blue said angrily after hearing this. A boom. The next second, the wall of the house collapsed. Luffy walks in front, with Sabo and Ace following behind him. What do you three brats want to do? Do you know who I am? Mr. Blue stood up and asked. You are Mr. Blue, right? We want to grab some money from you and kill you by the way. Luffy said slowly. Luffy has investigated, and the Mr. Blue 5 pirates are notorious. Indiscriminate killing of innocent people and mutilation of civilians. There is no need for such people to live. What an arrogant brat, you have ruined my good mood today. None of the three of you can leave today. You will all die in my hands. Mr. Blue picked up his weapon and approached Luffy and the others with a ferocious expression. Wait a minute, Luffy, don't release Conqueror'S Haki yet, otherwise he will faint directly. For an opponent of this level, let me practice with Sabo. Before the fight started, Ace stopped Luffy. Luffy's Conqueror'S Haki is too strong. If it is used on them, they will be a little unable to hold it, let alone Mr. Blue in front of them. 5. No problem, Luffy nodded. Arrogant, don't underestimate me. Mr. Blue 5 was furious and rushed towards the three of them with long strides. Facing the attacking Mr. Blue, Ace covered armament Haki with his fist. Pang! The blade in Mr. Blue's hand collided with Ace's fist. The next second, the blade broke directly. How can it be? Mr. Blue. The 5 people were immediately stunned and broke into cold sweats. Before he could recover, Ace's fist wrapped around Haki hit Mr. Blue's 5 abdomen hard, and the terrifying force knocked him away. His body hit the wall hard and died on the spot. That's too much, Ace. You killed the enemy before I even took action, Sabo said dissatisfied. Don't you still have some soldiers? I'll leave the rest to you. Ace spread his hands. Portka's D. Ace, come now. This hateful Mr. Blue Pirates 5 caused us a lot of losses back then. The 3 of us almost died at his hands. I didn't expect the other one. In this world, I can kill Mr. Blue with one punch. Sabo, this must be attributed to Luffy. He taught us to be so powerful. Marco, in my opinion, the war in another world may not break out. Because with that terrifying Luffy here, Ace will definitely be terrifyingly strong, and there is no way he will lose to that bastard Teach. Marco could tell. The Ace in another world is countless times more powerful than the Ace in this world. With Luffy's guidance, the future Ace will be absolutely terrifying. If we continue to hunt down Marshal D. Teach then, we will definitely not lose. Josie, there's no telling, the Teach in that world will die at the hands of Ace. Bista, Teach in that world will suffer, he deserves it. Marshal D. Teach, don't underestimate me. Dark fruit is the nemesis of all devil fruits. As long as Ace eats devil fruit, no matter how strong he is, he will never be my opponent. There's no denying that Ace from another world is under Luffy's guidance. It is indeed ridiculously strong. But Blackbeard has great confidence in his devil fruit. In his opinion, as long as the opponent is demon fruit power, he will never lose. Edward Newgate, Teach, you bastard, how dare you speak in the chat room? Marshal D. Teach, ha ha ha. Dad, since I can join this chat room, I can definitely speak in it. Jaws, damn Teach, we will never let you go. Once I save Ace, I will go after you myself. Marshal D. Teach, I have already obtained the strongest devil fruit dark fruit. Is it too whimsical to want to kill me? Gall D. Roger, it was this bastard Teach who caused my son to be arrested by Marine, right? Don't let me catch you, otherwise you will die. Marshal D. Teach, saw Roger speaking in the chat room. Blackbeard panicked instantly, because although he is not afraid of demon fruit power, but Roger is not demon fruit power, but the man who stands on top of the world with Haki. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 47 Kuina, it's the feeling of heartbeat, parallel world. Luffy continues to train and become stronger in Windmill Village, and is also coaching Ace and Sabo to become stronger. But he soon discovered that his strength was limited, and it was difficult to break through. He realized that his opponent was too weak. Because all the beasts in the mountains behind Windmill Village have been wiped out by him, and all the pirates nearby have also been wiped out by him. Without a strong opponent, without a strong person to guide you, it's very difficult to break through by just groping blindly on your own. After all, he is talented and can learn it quickly, but his understanding is not heaven-defying. Then he inquired that there was a famous gym in Shimotsuki village not far away, and the director was Shimotsuki Koshiro. In order to seek a breakthrough, Luffy, who was only 8 years old, embarked on a long voyage on a small boat provided by the villagers and the Eternal Pointer. Not long after, he arrived at Shimotsuki village. Walked into the gym. "Who are you?" Soon, Zoro stopped in front of him and asked. Monkey D. Luffy, from East Blue Windmill Village, came here to visit a man named Shimotsuki Koshiro. Luffy comes from a high family background. As Luffy's voice falls, a man slowly walked out from the gym. He is none other than Shimotsuki Koshiro. I saw him, pushed up his glasses and looked at Luffy and said, "Monkey D. Luffy, I heard Shanks mention you, saying that you are an unprecedented monster he encountered. I have long admired your name." Red Hair Pirates and Shimotsuki Koshiro are also closely related. Because of Red Hair Pirates, I often come here to replenish supplies. At the same time, red-haired Shanks also invited Shimotsuki Koshiro to join his pirate group many times, but he was rejected every time. An unprecedented monster, is he strong? Zoro looked at Luffy in front of him curiously. A man who is only 5 years old and masters both armed color and sight color, Conqueror'S Haki. Shimotsuki Koshiro nodded. Haki, what is that? Why have I never heard of it? Zoro wondered. Haki is the most powerful force in the world, a force that can surpass everything. Is this so strong? Is Haki so powerful? I also want to learn Haki, master. Teach me Haki quickly. I want to learn. Zoro requested. It doesn't work. It's not that I don't teach you. It's that you can't learn it now. Shimotsuki Koshiro shook his head and said, "In the entire gym, who is the person Shimotsuki Koshiro values the most? Then it must be my daughter, Kuina, and Zoro." But Shimotsuki Koshiro, the reason why he doesn't teach Zoro Haki. It's not because of partiality or stinginess, but because he knows that even if he teaches, he won't be able to learn at all. How is it possible? This guy knows 3 types of Haki at the age of 5. I am already 11 years old now. How can I not learn Haki? Zoro said dissatisfied. That's why I say, this guy is an unprecedented monster. HMPH, he is obviously younger than me, but I don't believe he is stronger than me. You, come and fight with me. Zoro picked up the wooden sword and pointed it at Luffy. Say goodbye, someone will die. Luffy shook his head and said, "You, who do you think will die?" Zoro was shocked. You, why you? Zoro was stunned. If I take action, you will die. If you die, your master will not kill me. Luffy spread his hands. After all, Luffy has achieved a little success in observation Haki, so he can sense what a terrifying existence Shimotsuki Koshiro is in front of him. That aura is only half inferior to the red-haired Shanks and his grandfather. Luffy doesn't think that at the age of 8, he can defeat such an opponent. What, if you don't fight me in the end, will I die? I don't believe it. Zoro became anxious. Stop it, Zoro, you can't be his opponent. Shimotsuki Koshiro stopped him. I'm only weaker than Kuina. Other than that, I'm not weaker than anyone else. Zoro is unconvinced. Calm down a little. Luffy put his palm on Zoro, and in the next second, an astonishing aura suddenly emerged on Zoro like a torrential river. Zoro suddenly felt a huge mountain pressing down on him. The astonishing momentum hit his soul, causing him to faint on the spot. Do you dominate? Conqueror'S Haki? What an amazing power. I was still wondering whether Shanks was bragging to me when you mastered Conqueror'S Haki at the age of 5, but now it seems that what he said is not wrong. To possess such a level of Conqueror'S Haki at the age of 8, you are truly an unprecedented monster. Feel the Conqueror'S Haki emanating from Luffy's body. At this time, Shimotsuki Koshiro no longer had any doubts about the authenticity of the red-haired Shanks, who had boasted to him about Luffy. I just made him faint temporarily, and I didn't mean any harm. I came here to seek a breakthrough. Before I came, I thought this trip would be in vain, but the first time I saw you, I knew I came to the right place. You are very strong. You have a lot to teach me. Please give me your advice. Luffy said politely. To learn things from others, you still need to have etiquette. Aren't you satisfied with having such strength at the age of 8? What an ambitious man. In order to become the freest man in the sea, I cannot relax for a moment. The freest man in the sea? I heard your ambition from your words. You want to be above everyone, including the world government, right? If you want to be the freest man in the sea, you need to be above the world government, then I really need to do that. Luffy said solemnly. If other people said these things in front of me, I would probably think that he was out of his mind and talking nonsense, but if it were you, maybe he could really do it. Because you have more talent, qualifications, and upper limit than anyone I have ever seen. What is world government? That is above all else. The immortal empire that ruled the world for 800 years. In the past 800 years, no one has ever been able to shake it. But if it's the man in front of me, Shimotsuki Koshiro somehow thinks he can do it. Who bullied my junior brother? At this moment, Kuina rushed out of the gym. He heard from the disciples in the hall that Zoro was knocked unconscious, so he came out to take a look. But when she saw Luffy for the first time, the anger dissipated instantly, and his heart started beating loudly. An indescribable emotion spread throughout her body, making it difficult to control. Chapter 48 Shy Kuina. Achoku, the Straw Hat Boy in that world, is too easy to learn. At his age, his strength has surpassed us many times, but he is not satisfied yet and wants to continue to become stronger. Silver Axe, even with the projection screen, I can feel how powerful his Conqueror'S Haki is. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. This is the Conqueror'S Haki possessed by an 8-year-old child. Douglas Bullet, I really want to try fighting with a man of this level. There is no doubt that he will grow into a stronger being than Roger in the future. And such a man is exactly what I want to defeat. Bullet's biggest dream is to defeat the strongest player in the world. In their world, the person Bullet considers to be the strongest in the world is Roger. And in that parallel world, there is no doubt that the strongest person in the future is definitely Luffy. Bullet hopes that in that parallel world, he will have the opportunity to fight against Luffy. Even if you lose, it's also an honor. After all, you can fight against monsters of this level. Poor Zelino, can you stop getting stronger? I'm under a lot of pressure. Sakazuki, poor Zelino, what are you talking about, you bastard? You actually openly stated in the chat room that you are afraid of Straw Hat. Kyuzin, be considerate of him, Sakazuki. That guy from Palo Zelino just wants to be lazy, but when he thinks that there is a being in that parallel world who will be much more powerful than him in the future, he knows that he can't be lazy. Sakazuki, humph, he's just a pirate, there's nothing to be afraid of. Poor Zelino. If the Straw Hats in that world attack the celestial dragons, Mr. Sengoku, please don't send me there. Buddha's Sengoku? I didn't send you, Palo Zelino. The Straw Hats attacked the celestial dragons in the Sabo'S archipelago. You didn't take the initiative. Poor Zelino. It's over. Now he can only hope to be in that parallel world. Luffy must not attack the celestial dragons in the Sabo'S archipelago, otherwise he will be ruined. I'm just a social beast. I really don't want to face such a monster. Trafalgar Law. I can't imagine how powerful the Straw Hat Master will be after he goes overseas in the future. Uruj, I can already imagine how desperate I must have been when I met the Straw Hat Boy after I went to sea in that parallel world. Obviously, in our world, the gap between us and the Straw Hat Boy is not too big. Their group of supernovas are heading to the top of the world when they go to sea. Without exception, everyone wants to become the king of the sea. But as soon as Uruj thinks about it, he in another world will face a Luffy who is much smaller than himself, but countless times more powerful than himself. The feeling of despair came over me. Eustace Kid, damn it, I hope I won't be too embarrassed in the other world. At least I have to be close to the strength of that Straw Hat Kid. Kid no longer expects himself to be stronger than Luffy in the other world. But at the very least, the strength cannot be too weak. Bandy Wald, close to that Straw Hat Boy, you Kid really likes to talk big. Even if you have half of that Straw Hat Boy's strength, talent, and potential, you may be able to stand at the top of our world, but there is no such strength. Red Earl Baloric Redfield. Even we don't think we can compare with the Straw Hat Kid in that world, but you brat is quite loud and wants to get close to him. Silver Axe, a brat who can't recognize reality, that's what it is. Eustace Kid, HMPH, just watch out, I will never be weaker than him. Kaido of the Beasts, GRRRR, what an arrogant brat. Roronoa Zoro, Ancient, Kuina. Shimotsuki Koshiro, I didn't expect that I could still see my daughter in that parallel world. When Kuina was a child, she accidentally fell down the stairs and died. This has always been something Zoro and Shimotsuki Koshiro can't let go of. Kuina, it's been so long, Father Zoro. Roronoa Zoro, I will keep my promise to you and become Kuina, the greatest swordsman in the world. Kuina, I believe you, Zoro. Parallel world. Don't be rude to guests, Kuina. It was Zoro who wanted to challenge Luffy that led to such consequences, and Luffy still showed mercy to him. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been as simple as fainting. Shimotsuki Koshiro reminded Kuina. I know. Kuina nods. However, her eyes kept wandering on Luffy and could not move away. The longer she stares at Luffy, the faster her heart beats. In the end, she found that she had an uncontrollable desire to have S*X with Luffy. She covered her eyes shyly, not daring to look at Luffy, and quickly left the place. I beg for flowers, evaluation votes, and monthly votes. Chapter 49, Shimotsuki Koshiro's swordsmanship is only under the eyes of an eagle, east blue from crow. Achoku, I don't know if it's my imagination. Why do I always feel that she ran away because she was shy? John, good guy. Could it be that this girl named Kuina also fell in love with Straw Hat Boy after just one glance? Yuruj, they are exactly the same as the one named Yuta. They fell in love with the Straw Hat Boy at first sight. T. Dolphin, the blessing of Garp's grandson is too great. Is it true that as long as it is a girl, you will fall in love with him immediately when you see him? Copper Jabba, I can't compare with my strength, I can't compare with my talent, I can't compare with my upper limit, I can't compare with my teaching skills, I can't compare with my studious spirit, and I can't even compare with women. Vinsmoke Sanji, why don't I have this ability? Pluton's Silver Rayleigh, I don't know if Straw Hat's physique that attracts women is an advantage or a disadvantage. D. Roger, I'm a little worried about him. I'm afraid that his woman will delay my cultivation. Monkey D. Garp, it would be great if my grandson could be so attractive to women in this world. I really want to have a great grandson. Monkey D. Luffy, I am the man who wants to become the Pirate King. Monkey D. Garp, shut up, you stupid grandson. Porzelino, in my opinion, it shouldn't be possible. After all, the Straw Hat Boys in that world are very strong and talented, and they won't be delayed by women in training, so I hope that the more women around him, the better. Quick! More women. Go waste Straw Hat's talent. In this way, I wouldn't have a lot of pressure in that world. Kaido of the Beasts, Kizaru, do you really think we don't know what you're thinking? Charlotte Linlin, my mama, is the yellow-skinned monkey so afraid of the Straw Hat Boy in that world? Porzelino, I just think that a man like him should have a harem around him. I have no other ideas or intentions. Douglas Bullet, that's pretty much it. Everyone can hear what's on your mind. Shimotsuki Koshiro, if I remember correctly, in that parallel world, it was the year when my daughter Kuina fell down the stairs and died accidentally. I hope the Straw Hat Boy in that world can change this fate. Parallel world. Sorry, my little girl is a little too rude. Seeing Kuina running away for some reason, Shimotsuki Koshiro apologized to Luffy. It's okay, I don't care, I'm just here to find you. What do you want to learn from me? Stronger Haki, and you teach swordsmanship, right? I also want to get involved in swordsmanship. Although Luffy is a rubber fruit user. The fight was supposed to start with Haki wrapping around his fists and developing devil fruit fight. But if Luffy wants to become a hexagon warrior, he can do anything. Although I am better at Haki than you, I have never taught anyone else Haki. I have no experience in this area. As for swordsmanship, I can teach you 1 or 2 moves. Let's not talk about swordsmanship for now. You have a fight with me and let me feel your Haki. Of course, don't use your full strength directly. Luffy suggested. Compared with swordsmanship, Luffy still wants to practice Haki's power first. Similarly, he does not want Shimotsuki Koshiro to directly use all his strength. After all, I am only 8 years old, so there is still a big gap between me and a strong person like Shimotsuki Koshiro. No problem, come to the backyard, we can't use it here. Shimotsuki Koshiro nodded. Then he took Luffy to the backyard. At this time, all the students in the backyard, including Kuina, also sneaked over to watch the battle. I will hold back, but I may still hurt you if I fight. I apologize in advance, Shimotsuki Koshiro said seriously. Bring it on. Luffy clenched his fist and wrapped armament Haki around his fist. Then he stamped on the ground and approached Shimotsuki Koshiro at his fastest speed. Peng! Shimotsuki Koshiro and Luffy pumped their fists at the same time. The fists collided, and a terrifying aura emerged from the two of them. The ripples caused by the amazing power rippled in all directions, and the ground cracked inch by inch. So strong! Shimotsuki Koshiro, sweat broke out on his forehead. Although this punch was reserved, he did not use the swordsmanship that he is good at. But by fist bump alone, Haki exchanges. Let him feel how powerful the power contained in Luffy's body is. This level of Haki is not something that a child under 10 years old can achieve. On the contrary, it looks like it was released by a strong man with terrible Haki attainments who has been fighting in the sea for many years. Pang, pangs, pang. The two fists clashed one after another. The momentum of the two people also continued to rise, and an astonishing sense of oppression filled the surroundings. Many apprentices who were watching the battle were so shocked that they felt numb all over. Achoku, who is this person named Shimotsuki Koshiro? He seems to be quite powerful. John, indeed, I can also feel it. This man's strength is extraordinary. Red-haired Shanks. Among the strong men I fought against, the one with the strongest swordsmanship is undoubtedly Hawkeye, but the second best swordsman is Shimotsuki Koshiro. Yoruj, does this mean that the swordsmanship of this man named Shimotsuki Koshiro is only inferior to Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman? Trafalgar Law, what a horrible man. Eustace Kid, if this video hadn't been exposed, I wouldn't have known there was such a strong person in East Blue. Kyuzin, East Blue is really a crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Such a monster is hidden in a small gym. Poruzalino, it's really unimaginable that I can be recognized by the red-haired man. Buddha's Sengoku, the red-haired brat seems to have a close relationship with this Shimotsuki Koshiro, but luckily he didn't join the red hair pirates, otherwise we would be in big trouble. You can find out from the previous conversation between Shimotsuki Koshiro and Luffy. Shimotsuki Koshiro has a close relationship with the red-haired Shanks. Now his strength has been personally recognized by red-haired Shanks. Sengoku had to be thankful that he didn't join the red hair pirates. Otherwise, an unprecedented and strongest pirate group will be born. Chapter 50, Luffy fights against Shimotsuki Koshiro and gains the upper hand. Marco, no wonder this guy can fight with the Straw Hat Boy in that world without using swordsmanship and letting go. Roronoa Zoro, is my master's background so powerful? Zoro was confused. All he knows is that Shimotsuki Koshiro is strong. But I didn't expect that I would be recognized by 4 emperors, red-haired Shanks. His swordsmanship is only inferior to that of the world's greatest swordsman. Shimotsuki Koshiro, I'm just a gym leader, don't think too highly of me. Achoku, you said this, do you believe it? Edward Newgate, not many men can be recognized by that red-haired brat. Who is red-haired Shanks? He is the emperor of the sea on the sea. One of the 4 emperors who rule the world in New World. How can a man who can be recognized by such a strong man be ordinary? Jaws, but Straw Hat Boy is really powerful. Even if a man of this level lets loose, it is definitely not something that ordinary people can fight against. But Straw Hat Boy seems very relaxed, and he even seems to be exploring the Haki power contained in the opponent's fist. So awesome, I can actually beat my father on par. Kuina swallowed in surprise. In his mind, Shimotsuki Koshiro is the strongest existence. And Luffy can actually compete with his father. Although, she also knew that her father was cheating. But you must know that even if the water is released, the power released by Shimotsuki Koshiro is still truly terrifying. It's really strong. I'm really in the right place. Luffy can deeply feel how powerful Shimotsuki Koshiro's fist is. That is a power that is completely above him, Haki that is completely above him. In this battle, Luffy did not use the power of rubber fruit. After all, his original intention was just to compete with Shimotsuki Koshiro on Haki, trying to use his terrifying talent to understand the other party's Haki intention. The two only exchanged fists for a moment. You can see that the backyard is in a mess. The ground is torn, the soil is turned over, and even the walls are affected and broken every inch. While the two Hakis are fighting each other, Luffy is also constantly looking for flaws in Shimotsuki Koshiro. He is determined to understand Shimotsuki Koshiro's Haki power at the same time, and gain rich combat experience through this battle. Chance. After a short confrontation, Luffy suddenly found a flaw in his opponent that only lasted less than a second in a very short period of time. Peng! Luffy's punch wrapped around Haki hit Shimotsuki Koshiro hard in the abdomen, sending him flying backwards. Achoku, hey, are you kidding me? Straw Hat actually has the upper hand. Razor, it's impossible. That's Shimotsuki Koshiro. Yasop, hey, this is really too much. Yuruj, before the battle, I said harshly that I would hurt the Straw Hat Boy, but I ended up getting hurt. John, it's scary enough. In a battle like that, you can actually find the opponent's flaws and hit a powerful blow. If the two people are of the same level of strength, this punch may have determined the outcome. Although they all know it. Shimotsuki Koshiro was let down in this battle. But the problem is, even if Shimotsuki Koshiro releases his opponent, he does so based on Luffy's strength. He suppressed his strength to the point where he was almost on par with Luffy to fight. In the case of both Taijutsu and Haki, the strength is completely equal. At this time, all we have to fight for is combat experience. Logically speaking, Shimotsuki Koshiro, who has decades of combat experience, should have the upper hand. But unexpectedly, it was Luffy who was the first to find the flaw. The problem is, Luffy is only 8 years old now. I guess I haven't even fought against strong players a few times, but I have accumulated quite a lot of combat experience after a short battle. This kind of man really completely refreshed John's worldview. Ridiculously strong, too powerful to be called human. Roxd. Byandy Wald. The Straw Hat Boy in our world is still being chased around by the beasts of Windmill Village at this time, but the Straw Hat Boy in another world can already fight against such monsters. Douglas Bullet, this power gap. They are not laughing at the weak Luffy of their world. After all, Luffy can become a supernova in an extremely evil era, with a bounty of up to 300 million bili at the age of 17. This can be considered a very terrifying monster. But compared to Luffy from another world, he looks weak. And of course, in fact, no one can compare with Luffy from that parallel world. Jaehin, fortunately, the Straw Hat Boy in our world is not so strong. It was the only thing that gave them relief. If Luffy in their world could be as strong as in the parallel world. Tell the truth. They no longer need to be pirates. They can simply wait for death at home and let him figure it out. Gall D. Roger, ha, it's really good, such strength. The hope of overthrowing the world government is getting bigger and bigger. Pluton Silver Rayleigh, I really hope I can see him grow up soon. Copper Jabba, I can't wait to see those old guys in world government being overthrown. Kyuzin, this guy, is really becoming more and more of a monster. Buddha's Sengoku, Garp, you know what I want to say now, right? Seeing Luffy getting stronger and stronger, Sengoku was already numb with anger. If Garp wasn't stupid, this kind of man might already be their marine. Monkey D. Garp, stop scolding, it's a done deal and there's nothing I can do about it. Kong, Garp, you idiot. When this so-called comparison video is over, you immediately write a 10,000-word review and send it to my office. Monkey D. Garp, good guy. 10,000 words. Why don't you kill me? Chapter 51, Zoro slept until night and woke up to challenge Luffy. Parallel world. Father, Kuina was shocked to see Shimotsuki Koshiro injured. Because she never expected that Luffy would gain the upper hand as a result of this battle. She couldn't help but focus on Luffy. Powerful, highly talented, and possessing an inexplicable attraction that attracts people. Kuina at this moment is undoubtedly a little depressed. If it weren't for his strong self-control and the presence of his father, Shimotsuki Koshiro. Otherwise, she might be like Yuta and confess her love to Luffy directly. Amazing, amazing. Did you catch the flaw that was revealed inadvertently? Shimotsuki Koshiro broke out in cold sweat on his forehead and said in pain. Because Luffy's attack was too sudden. Let him have no time to wrap Haki around his abdomen for defense. This blow can be said to have caused him a lot of suffering. Excuse me, I have benefited a lot from fighting with you. Whether it is the further improvement of Haki or the accumulation of combat experience, I have gained something. Coming to you by boat is really one of the best choices I have ever made. Shimotsuki Koshiro's Haki is very strong, and the battle with him also gave Luffy some clues about how to improve his own Haki. At the same time, the experience gained from fighting Shimotsuki Koshiro is also valuable. This is the first time Luffy has fought so happily since he was born. After all, Shimotsuki Koshiro suppressed his strength to the same level as him. In other words, Luffy is fighting an opponent whose strength is barely different. It's really an honor to be able to guide a monster like you. Shimotsuki Koshiro sighed. It's getting late, I have to go back. Otherwise Sister Makino will be worried, but I will come back for advice another day. Luffy looked up at the sky. It was noon. If you take a boat, you can go back around midnight. After all, Windmill Village is not too far from here. You said you are from Windmill Village, right? There is still some distance from Windmill Village here. If you go back by boat, you will not be able to arrive until very late. Moreover, the sea at night is very unsafe and you may encounter danger. After all, you are demon fruit power, right? So why not stay here? Shimotsuki Koshiro suggested. He also heard red-haired Shanks say that Luffy is demon fruit power. If Luffy loses his way while taking the boat in the middle of the night, or it is too dark and encounters danger, causing the boat to be destroyed and fall into the sea, then this is equivalent to sentencing Luffy to death. Shimotsuki Koshiro, I don't want to see such a terrifying monster die because of something like this. After hearing his proposal, Luffy thought for a while and agreed. After all, his boat-building skills are not superb. He has just learned it. If he encounters danger while sailing at night, it will indeed be very troublesome. Borrow the phone bug, I'll check with Sister Makino that she's safe, Luffy said. No problem. After Luffy and Makino said they were safe, they decided to stay here temporarily for a while. After all, it is very troublesome to get here from Windmill Village back and forth. It's better to wait until you learn something before going back. Night. Luffy, Kuina, and others are sitting around eating in the gym. While eating, Luffy suddenly remembered something and came to the yard by the front door. As for lying down for so long, Luffy noticed that Zoro was still lying on the ground. Because everyone in the gym was so attracted by the battle between Luffy and Shimotsuki Koshiro that they even forgot about Zoro, who was unconscious. Wake up, wake up. Luffy squatted down and shook Zoro's body, but the other party showed no sign of waking up. Luffy simply slapped Zoro. I want to challenge you. Zoro woke up and shouted immediately. Are you still thinking of challenging me? I already told you that you are no match for me, and it's already dinner time. Let's go eat first. But having said that, is your presence in the gym that low? Lie down. No one has found it here for so long. Luffy couldn't help but complain. Zoro stands up, his stomach growling. Yes, I have to eat first. When I finish eating, I will challenge you again. Achoku, good guy. This guy named Roronoa Zoro was knocked unconscious from noon to night by the Straw Hat Boy using Conqueror'S Haki. When he woke up, he still wanted to challenge the Straw Hat Boy. John, his master, has been defeated. He is really a newborn calf who is not afraid of tigers. He dares to say such things. Eustace Kid, hey, Roronoa, are you trying to laugh me to death? Trafalgar Law, Master Zoro was really shocked by Conqueror'S Haki, the Straw Hat Master of that world. Roronoa Zoro. Zoro also realized that he was a bit of an idiot. Chapter 52, Zoro becomes a disciple of Luffy and learns from Haki. Church a month. What? This guy hurt the master. When Zoro and everyone in the gym were sitting together to eat, Zoro heard this extremely shocking and unbelievable news. Impossible, the master is very strong. How could he hurt the master? Zoro didn't believe it. It's true, although my father was letting off steam, he suppressed his strength to the same level as Luffy, but his father was still injured. Kuina explained at the side. Kuina said, while secretly looking at Luffy. Oops. The heartbeat is getting faster and faster. Hearing Kuina's explanation, Zoro swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said in surprise, is he so strong? He doesn't believe what others say, but he absolutely believes what Kuina says. So don't be stupid and start a fight with him. You can't beat him at all, Kuina advised. But who knows, the next second, Zoro knelt directly in front of Luffy, put his palms on the ground, and shouted with great respect. Master. Huh, what are you doing? Luffy is confused. What's the situation? Didn't you still want to challenge yourself just now? Why did you suddenly change your attitude and call yourself master? My master said before that Haki is the most powerful force in the world, but my master didn't teach me Haki, so I want to ask you about Haki training. So now, I want to become your teacher. Zoro really wants to become stronger, strong enough to surpass Kuina, powerful enough to become the world's greatest swordsman. So facing Luffy, who was younger than him but possessed terrifying strength, he chose to kneel down. As Zoro finished speaking, Shimotsuki Koshiro also walked out of the cubicle and sighed. Zoro, didn't I tell you? You can't learn Haki at this stage. It's not that I don't teach you, but that Haki is extremely difficult to learn. The reason why Luffy can learn it is because Luffy is the same as us. Different. But Zoro wanted to say something more, but was interrupted by Shimotsuki Koshiro. At this stage, you should practice swordsmanship first. Haki is countless times more difficult than you think. Shimotsuki Koshiro reminded with a serious expression. I know. Zoro lowered his head regretfully. If you want to learn, I can teach you Haki. Luffy looked at Zoro while eating the food. Really? Zoro suddenly raised his face, smiled broadly, and said extremely excitedly. Hey, Luffy, you can learn Haki because you are different from all of us. You are the most talented person in the history of this ocean, but not everyone is like you. Zoro's qualifications are good, but asking him to learn Haki at this time is too far-fetched. Even I have no confidence in teaching him. Shimotsuki Koshiro kindly advised. No problem, I'm good at teaching people. After saying that, Luffy turned his attention to Zoro and said seriously, but I have a condition. If you agree, I will guide you in Haki's training. Promise, I promise, Zoro said excitedly. As long as I can learn Haki, he will agree to 100 conditions, let alone one. In the future, I plan to go to sea and become a pirate, but I need to find 10 pendants. No, find 10 companions. You will be one of my companions, and I will teach you Haki. He thinks the red-haired Shanks are 10 companions, so he plans to find 10. Become a pirate, no problem, as long as you teach me Haki. Zoro hesitated briefly, then nodded sharply. Okay, I'll try to teach you Haki within a month. Luffy stood up after hearing this and said solemnly. He spent a month teaching Ace and Sabo how to be armed and lustful. So he also plans to spend a month teaching Zoro. 1 month more. Thank you, Master Luffy. Zoro was so excited that he knelt down again. Hey, although I know that you have made up your mind to teach Zoro, I still remind you that at his current age, it will take at least many years to learn Haki. And this will waste his swordsmanship training, will also waste your talent. Shimotsuki Koshiro reminded again. No problem, I said 1 month, Luffy said with firm eyes. Oh well. Shimotsuki Koshiro heard this and said nothing more. As for Zoro going to be a pirate, he didn't stop him. Because he feels that everyone has their own choice. That night, Luffy slept in the same room as Zoro. Luffy recalled the details of his battle with Shimotsuki Koshiro while thinking about how to further improve Haki. By the way, I will teach Zoro how to feel the power in his body. To realize the power of Haki. Soon, the time came to midnight. Luffy is already sleepy, but Zoro is full of energy and has been immersed in the joy of training Haki. I asked you whether you can sleep or not. Luffy couldn't help but complain. I'm so excited, Master Luffy, you're guiding me in Haki's training, so I'm not going to sleep tonight, Zoro said with a smile on his face. If you don't want to sleep, you can go back to the mountains to practice. I still have to sleep. Don't call me Master, just call me Luffy. I understand, I won't disturb your sleep, Master Luffy. Luffy. After leaving these words, Zoro rushed to the back mountain without stopping. Be prepared to practice all night. Achoku, this kid is really lucky to meet the Straw Hat Kid. John, there is no doubt that under the guidance of the Straw Hat Boy in that world, this Roronoa Zoro will also evolve into a monster. Byandy Wald, it is conceivable that the Straw Hat pirates in the future will be monsters per capita, overwhelming the sea. Golden Lion Shiki, Jai Hahaha, I can already imagine what a huge dilemma Marine and that ugly world government will face. Edward Newgate, Kulalala, in that parallel world, in 10 years, an unprecedented and strongest pirate group will probably be born. Marco, I hope Ace from that world will also join our Whitebeard pirates. Otherwise, I'm really afraid that our Whitebeard pirates will also be swept away by the Straw Hats. Chapter 53, Kuina attacks Luffy at night, trying to get second blood. Josie, but this Roronoa Zoro is also a malleable talent. As soon as Luffy told him to teach him Haki, he couldn't even sleep and planned to practice all night. Yuruj, if I could get personal guidance from a man of this caliber, I would never sleep all night long. That is the strongest monster in the history of this sea. Not only is he strong in himself, but his ability to teach others is absolutely unmatched by anyone. Who wouldn't want to be mentored by him? Who doesn't want to become stronger? Trafalgar Law, I am moved by what you said. If I can get the guidance of the Straw Hat Kid, I will definitely become stronger. Then I can avenge Mr. Corazon and defeat that bastard Doflamingo. Doflamingo, Luo, you are really determined to give up. There is absolutely no way you can defeat me no matter what. Trafalgar Law, really. I don't think so. I will defeat you sooner or later. Doflamingo, then give it a try. Unplayed video. Parallel world. While Luffy was sleeping, he suddenly heard the slight sound of the door opening, and then someone quickly got into his bed. Didn't you say you were going to practice all night? Are you back so soon? Luffy said doubtfully. Faced with Luffy's inquiry, the person who got into bed did not speak. Instead, he slowly reached out and hugged him. Why do people nowadays like to sleep with me in their arms? Forget about women, even men are like this. Luffy couldn't help but complain. But he didn't care too much. After all, he thought that both men and women liked this. And he was too sleepy at the moment to say anything, so he just lay there and continued to sleep. But soon, Luffy couldn't sleep, because the heartbeat of the person holding him was so loud that he couldn't sleep. Hey, I'm talking about Zoro, Luffy said as he lifted up the quilt, preparing to teach Zoro a lesson. But when he lifted the quilt, he was instantly stunned. Because the one who got into his bed was not Zoro at all, but Kuina. Night, good evening. Kuina blushed and waved towards Luffy awkwardly. Why are you in my room? Where is Zoro? Luffy's head was filled with questions. I saw Zoro going to the back mountain, so I thought you might be lonely sleeping alone at night, so I came over to stay with you. If you think it's not possible, I will just leave. Kuina said nervously. At this time, her heart was beating very fast because she was too nervous and shy. After all, it was the first time that the two of them met. Kuina also realized that she was too brave. You dare to get into other men's beds so soon. But she couldn't bear it. Luffy's temptation was too great, and she couldn't bear it. Seeing Zoro going to the back mountain, and asking that Zoro will not come back all night. She finally took action. Forget it, your heartbeat should be quieter. Because he had always slept with Makino and Yuta in Windmill Village, he did not refuse Kuina's request to sleep with him. I just hope the other person's heartbeat can be quieter. Do you mean you agree to my sleeping here? Kuina said excitedly. I agree, but I really need you to lower your heartbeat. I try my best. The words fall. Luffy lay down again, and Kuina hugged him tightly. And the most terrible thing is that Kuina keeps touching him. I wonder if you can sleep or not, Luffy complained. Yes, I'm sorry you smell so good. I'm very close to you. Is my heartbeat still loud? Kuina apologized repeatedly. I mean, don't touch me. Sorry. Trouble. The words fall. Luffy stood up and planned to take off his clothes. Because when he slept in Makino'S room before, Makino and Yuta also liked to touch him. After taking off their clothes, the two of them became much quieter. You. Seeing Luffy finish taking off his clothes, Kuina immediately covered her eyes and turned red. Is the progress too fast? Is this the first night to do? I'm a little unprepared. Do not care. Since he has taken off his clothes, if he wants to do something like that, I can only accompany him. Who asked me to break into his room? This is my retribution. Kuina thought as she took off her clothes. But who would have thought that after Luffy took off his clothes, he fell asleep on the spot? Kuina was confused by this scene. What's the situation? Why did he just lie down and sleep? Aren't you going to do that kind of thing? Don't you want to do it again? Could it be that? He means, let me sit on it. Possible. Since his intention was so obvious, I had no choice but to do it. Without much hesitation, Kuina boldly rode directly on Luffy. What are you doing? Luffy opened his eyes and said doubtfully. Didn't you ask me to sit up here? I didn't say it, I just want to sleep. Kuina. Oops. I misunderstood what he meant. What to do now? Am I too proactive? What am I doing? Luffy and I just met for the first time, and we only knew each other for less than a day. The atmosphere suddenly froze for a few seconds. Kuina. At this moment, Shimotsuki Koshiro'S voice came from the backyard. I'm leaving first. Kuina quickly put on her clothes shyly and left. Finally, I can sleep. Luffy lay on the bed and closed his eyes. If he was very energetic, he wouldn't refuse to do that kind of thing with Kuina. But after all, he had a fight with Shimotsuki Koshiro today, and then groped Haki in the room. He was really tired and had little energy left. Now, all he can think about is sleep. It will be on the shelves at 12 o'clock tonight. I beg readers to support it by giving me a pre-order when the time comes. The author would like to thank me for this. I published 20,000 words on the first day. At the same time, the timeline will also end with Luffy going to sea. Chapter 54, 1 month later, further strength, soon. 1 month later. For about a month, Luffy has been living in Shimotsuki village. And Haki often competes with Shimotsuki Koshiro from time to time, and also humbly asks for advice on swordsmanship training. And Shimotsuki Koshiro never refuses advice from monsters like Luffy. Every time, I give my best to teaching. After 1 month, Luffy can clearly feel that his Haki has improved a lot. At the same time, his swordsmanship has completely surpassed Zoro and Kuina. You have grown to such an extent in just 1 month. I can't imagine how powerful you will be when you grow up. Looking at the rapidly growing Luffy, Shimotsuki Koshiro couldn't help but take a breath. As the teacher of the gym, he has taught countless apprentices in his life. For all the apprentices who have been taught by him, he can see their future at a glance and see where their strength will be in the future. But he can't see clearly only Luffy. He can't see Luffy's future. In other words, he simply cannot predict how powerful Luffy will be in the future. Thank you very much, Mr. Koshiro. Luffy thanked him respectfully. You're welcome. As I said before, it's my honor to teach you. In the future, I will see an unprecedented monster descend on the sea. As long as I think of such a monster being guided by my hands, I can't help but I want to smile. Shimotsuki Koshiro smiled slightly. This is his truth. Luffy, are you hungry? This is the rice ball I made for you. At this moment, not far away, Kuina came over with a shy look and handed a box of rice balls to Luffy. Thank you. Luffy took the lunch box and said, although it is not the time to eat now, he is still somewhat hungry. No, you're welcome. After leaving these words, Kuina ran away with a shy look. Shimotsuki Koshiro showed a see-through smile and said, "It seems that my little girl likes you very much." Really? Luffy spread his hands while eating rice balls. Well, this is a matter between the two of you, so I won't say anything more, and of course I won't stop it. The meaning of Shimotsuki Koshiro is very simple. Even if Luffy is with Kuina, he won't stop her at all. After all, for Shimotsuki Koshiro, if the two of them are really together, it will be Kuina who gets the upper hand. Speaking of which, what about that guy Zoro? I basically haven't seen him much except during mealtime. Shimotsuki Koshiro suddenly asked. He is studying Haki in the back mountain. Luffy pointed to the back mountain road. Because Zoro works too hard and often practices all night long, which makes Luffy unable to sleep. Zoro simply built a temporary hut in the back mountain. Except for mealtime and asking for advice, he basically never came back. He has been practicing hard. Speaking of which, it has been a month since today. It will be tiring to guide him to learn Haki, right? But fortunately, it doesn't seem to have delayed your training. You are still growing rapidly. Shimotsuki Koshiro doesn't care what Luffy said before. It will take a month to teach Zoro Haki. Because he knows that this is simply impossible. Zoro is too young, and his body is not mature enough to feel the power in his body. It is even said that Zoro has reached adulthood, his body is fully developed, and he has some strength. Some people told him that Zoro Haki could be taught in a month, but he didn't believe it at all. But what reassures Shimotsuki Koshiro is, although Luffy was also spending this month to mentally guide Zoro Haki, his own training was not delayed. It's been a month. Speaking of which, I haven't seen Makino-san for a month. I should go back almost tomorrow. Luffy mused. He has learned a lot this month, and he will return to Windmill Village to settle down. Whenever you encounter an obstacle that you cannot break through again, look for Shimotsuki Koshiro to find a breakthrough. Are you leaving tomorrow? I really can't bear to leave you. This sentence, Shimotsuki Koshiro said for his daughter Kuina, because he noticed that Kuina was secretly observing Luffy, not far away. Well, if I have a chance in the future, I will come again. Then it's settled. Well, but then again, it's been a month. Hasn't that guy Zoro come down yet? His talent is too low. Luffy focused his gaze on the mountain behind, looking like he hated iron. Obviously Zoro's training is even harder than Ace and Sabo'S. But it's been a month now. If Zoro hasn't learned Haki yet, Luffy will label Zoro as an unteachable brat. Achoku is this human language. John, if you are around 10 years old and cannot learn Haki in a month, you are just too talented. Then we, the group of people, should not live. I did not initially master Haki until I was in my 20s. Rox D. Zebek. If I could learn Haki in 1 month when I was about 10 years old, I would be the king of the world now. Golden Lion Shiki. I can already rule the world. Kaido of the Beasts. I can already start a war that will sweep the world. Charlotte Linlin. I can already be the queen of the sea. Marco, the chat room is for civilized speech, not for you to tell impossible dreams. Kaido of the Beasts, you damn brat. Leazi's dream will definitely come true. Edward Newgate, Kulalala, can it really be done, Kaido? Kaido of the Beasts, just wait and see, old Newgate. Vinsmoke Sanji, are you good at it, green algae head? You haven't learned Haki for a month, it's so useless. That was taught by Luffy himself, you can't even learn it. Roronoa Zoro, shut up, you stinky cook. After all, I was too young at that time. I couldn't learn it in 1 month, so I'll spend 2 months learning it. Tony Chopper, but Luffy in that world will leave the next day. Without his guidance, you wouldn't be able to learn it in a year, right, Zoro? Roronoa Zoro. After hearing Chopper's words, Zoro also fell silent. With Luffy always by his side to guide him, he believed that no matter how talented he was, he could still learn it in 2 months. After all, Ace and Sabo were taught by Luffy in just 1 month. But if Luffy leaves Shimotsuki Village, without his guidance, it would be exactly what Chopper said. It's impossible to learn it on your own in a year. Even 1 year is still conservative. There may be no chance at all in 5 years. Released at 12 o'clock in the evening. Chapter 55, Second Blood Kuina, 17 years old Luffy goes to sea, but Garp stops him begging foe. Suffering setbacks is not a bad thing for him. After this month of Haki training, he will surely realize that at his current age, it is impossible to learn Haki. This can inspire him to train hard. Swordsmanship, I will learn Haki in the future. Shimotsuki Koshiro put his hands behind his back and expressed his opinion. Don't let me down, Zoro. If you can't learn Haki in a month, you don't even have the qualifications to be my pendant. No, you don't have the qualifications to be my crew member. Luffy was eating rice balls while looking towards the back hill. Although Luffy wants to find a few random crew members, the qualifications of the crew members should not be too bad. At the very least, it is standard to learn indoor air conditioning in 1 month. Achuku, good guy, according to the Straw Hat Boy in that world, I'm not even qualified to board his ship. Byandy Wald, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm not qualified either. Edward Newgate, it seems that in our world, no one can learn Haki at the age of 10. Hearing Edward Newgate's words, the entire chat room was silent. If someone really learned Haki at the age of 10, he would be treated as a grandfather directly. Red Earl Baloric Redfield, fortunately, I was born with observation Haki. Even in that world, I am qualified to board Straw Hat Boy's ship. Douglas Bullet, aren't you cheating? Kyuzin, the standard equipment for boarding the Straw Hat Boy's ship is that it seems that at the age of 10, you can learn to see and hear Haki and armament Haki in 1 month. Do you know how to arm Haki at that age? Baloric Redfield. Red Earl Baloric Redfield. If I could, do you think the current king of the world would still be world government? Will I still be put in Impel Down? Parallel world. It's almost noon. Shimotsuki Koshiro turned his head and glanced at the clock on the wall in the room, and then glanced at 157. Kuina said, Kuina, go ask Zoro from the back mountain to come back for dinner. No need, he's back. Luffy shook his head slightly. He just opened observation Haki, and sensed that Zoro was rushing towards the gym. Already know it, Luffy whispered to himself. Under normal circumstances, Zoro would not take the initiative to go down the mountain. When eating, he is always the one who calls Zoro. If he doesn't call Zoro, he can keep practicing without eating for several days. And now, Luffy still knows what it means for Zoro to take the initiative to go down the mountain. Tap, tap, tap. Soon, there was a sound of footsteps outside the yard. I saw Zoro running back, sweating profusely and panting. You're back, Zoro. It's time to eat. I believe this month of training has made you realize that Haki can't be learned. It's better not to think about practicing Haki in the future. Practicing swordsmanship down to earth is the right choice. Shimotsuki Koshiro came to Zoro and patted his shoulder, warning him solemnly. I learned it. Zoro adjusted his breathing and clenched his fists with excitement. Learn what? Shimotsuki Koshiro was stunned. Haki named armed color, seeing color. The words fall. Zoro wrapped his fist with black paint like paint. Armament Haki, you actually learned it. Shimotsuki Koshiro suddenly broke into cold sweat on his forehead and said with an incredulous look on his face. Yoruj, this guy actually learned how to see, hear, and act an armament Haki in just 1 month. Trafalgar Law, +1 for the Straw Hat Pirates monsters. I think when we go to sea in the future, we won't need Straw Hat Master to take action when we encounter enemies. Master Zoro alone will be able to sweep away all enemies. Eustace Kid, no, the most powerful one is not Zoro at all, but the Straw Hat Kid. He can teach Fire Fist Ace and Revolutionary Army Sabo Haki in 1 month, and he can also teach Zoro Haki in 1 month. Kyuzin, ah la la. Once again, Straw Hat's amazing teaching ability has been shattered. Poor Zelino. No matter what kind of person he is, will he definitely become stronger as long as he is guided by the Straw Hat Boy. Buddha's Sengoku. This guy can be called a monster-making machine. Crane, it's such a headache. An enemy that I don't know how to deal with at all. Kong, I hate this kind of man. He doesn't stand on our marine side. Garp. Monkey D. Garp, arrived. Kong, add another 10,000 words for self-criticism, for a total of 20,000 words for self-criticism. Monkey D. Garp. Good guy. I didn't do anything. Just ask me to write a 20,000-word review. Silver Axe. Fortunately, I died early and won't encounter that monster in another world. John, this is also the first time I'm glad that I'm not alive. Achoku. But damn, I am alive. You must never come to New World, and you must never come to Beehive Island to find me, Straw Hat. Otherwise, I will die for you. Rorinoa Zoro, how about it, Stinky Cook? Vinsmoke Sanji, damn it, why are you so proud, you green algae head? You only learned it under the guidance of Luffy in that world. You wouldn't have learned it without him. Rorinoa Zoro, I learned it anyway, didn't I? Parallel world. Shimotsuki Koshiro was shocked and tried a little more on Zoro's observation Haki. Finally concluded that Zoro really learned armament color and observation Haki. This made Shimotsuki Koshiro freeze on the spot, unable to calm down for a long time. Okay, you're qualified to board my ship. Luffy patted Zoro on the shoulder and said, I will definitely live up to your expectations and become the world's greatest swordsman. Zoro couldn't hide his excitement. Let's go, it's time to eat. Luffy took Zoro into the gym, and the food was ready. However, Shimotsuki Koshiro is still stagnant at this time. I didn't come back to my senses at all. Father, what's wrong? It's time to eat. Kuina came to Shimotsuki Koshiro, shook his body and said. After Kuina's reminder, Shimotsuki Koshiro slowly recovered from the shock. He swallowed involuntarily, wiped the cold sweat on his forehead, and said in a trembling and excited tone, What kind of monster did I come into contact with? Soon. The time has come at night. Luffy is already in bed sleeping, but Zoro is not training in the house. Although Haki has learned it, his sword skills have fallen behind for a month. He picked up his sword skills again. And he trained swordsmanship while working with Haki. I said, Zoro, you should go back to the back mountain bar to practice. I will go home tomorrow. You let me have a good sleep. Luffy sat up and complained. Are you leaving tomorrow? Zoro is startled. It's been a month since I came here. Sister Makino has been calling me all day long. It's really time for me to go back. After all, the purpose of coming here has been achieved. Luffy came here to seek a breakthrough Haki, and learn swordsmanship. Now he already has an idea on how to break through Haki. As long as he spends some time, he can master a more powerful Haki. He has also learned a lot of swordsmanship. There is no point in staying here anymore. Will we meet again? Zoro said with some reluctance. I will come again if my breakthrough is hindered, or I will come here to invite you when I go to sea in the future. I understand. Let's set out towards the top of the world together. Zoro left these words and left the house without stopping, heading to the back mountain for training. Vinsmoke Sanji, you really work hard, green groove head. Rorinoa Zoro, I can't let Luffy down. Unplayed video. Parallel world. I can finally sleep. Luffy lies on the bed. But after a while, he heard the slight sound of the door opening. Soon, the figure got directly into his bed and hugged him tightly. Why are you back so soon, Zoro? Luffy was about to say something, but suddenly heard an unusual heartbeat and the scent of Japanese semen. He suddenly realized something, lifted the quilt, and saw that the person lying on the bed holding him was indeed not Zoro, but Kuina. Why are you here again? Luffy asked, confused. You're leaving tomorrow, right? Kuina asked with a tearful voice. Yes. Will you come back again? Maybe. Luffy can't tell when he will come back. Hearing this, Kuina hugged Luffy tighter and said with an expression as if she was about to cry, If you leave, I will miss you. 1. I'm gone, not dead. Kuina didn't speak, but just hugged Luffy. After a long time, Kuina whispered, Before you leave, I want to do something with you. What's up? Kuina didn't say anything, but started to take off Luffy's clothes. Wait a minute, if you are here tonight, won't your father notice something unusual? Luffy stopped him. He naturally realized what Kuina wanted to do. However, Makino once said that when doing such a thing, no one can discover it. At the same time, I can't tell anyone. The last time, a month ago, when Kuina wanted to do something like this, it was interrupted because of his father's sudden shout. And of course, even if Shimotsuki Koshiro didn't come last time, Luffy is not very interested in doing this kind of thing because he is too tired. My father is still in a state of confusion. He keeps talking about how Zoro learned Haki and how you can be such a monster and fall into this state. I guess it will take him some time to calm down. So he won't know I'm here. Kuina explained. Luffy. Hey guys, I just let Zoro learn Haki in a month. Are you so surprised? Kuina didn't say anything else. After taking off Luffy's clothes, she began to take off her own clothes. Own clothes? Can you still stretch it? Kuina asked in surprise. I am a rubber fruit user. Can it still get harder? I will be a strong armament Haki. Time passed by, and it came to the next day when Luffy left Shimotsuki. But before leaving, he handwritten, armed colors and observation Haki's training methods to Kuina. Original world. Soon, Luffy grew up to 17 years old. Luffy rode on a small boat, defeated the offshore king, and started his own adventure. Monkey D. Luffy, hee, are you finally going to sea? Achoku, if the Straw Hat Boy in our world is going to the sea, doesn't it mean that the Straw Hat Boy in the other world is also going to the sea? Silver Axe, in other words, has the experience of childhood been played out? It's finally time to come out. John, I'm kind of looking forward to it. What incredible level has that man with monster talents, strength, and upper limit training for more than 10 years achieved? Strength. Rox D. Zebek, an unprecedented monster, is about to go to sea. I really look forward to what he will do. Gal D. Roger, it's finally time for you to go to sea, Luffy. Use your strength to give the world a little shock. Pluton Silver Rayleigh, Luffy is not the only monster that has descended on this sea. Roronoa, Zoro, Ace, and Sabo are all caused by Lu, the monster that grew up under Faye's guidance. Copper Jabba, are you afraid of Marine? Are you afraid of world government? Jago Lucia Satan, what's there to be afraid of? Marcus Maz Saint, don't underestimate our world government, Copper Chinese letter. Topman Wuchulai, our world government has stood at the top of this sea for 800 years. How can it be shaken by just a young boy? Shepherd 10 Peter, he has gone down the wrong path. As long as such an existence offends our world government, he will be erased. To say they were scared, they were really a little scared. Not only is Luffy strong in his own right, highly talented, with an endless ceiling, but he also has extremely strong teaching abilities. What makes things even more difficult for them is that Luffy is a rubber fruit user. He is the man who ate the god fruit. Such an existence will definitely become a reality in the future. They are the biggest enemies of the world government, so they can only pray. In another world, they could realize Luffy's threat earlier. Otherwise, if 3.4 gives Luffy more time to grow, they may really face a desperate situation. Golden Lion Shiki, Jai hahaha, I like to be tough talking. I want to see how long you can keep your tough talking. Crocodile, don't fall into trouble then, you bastard world governments. Moonlight Moria, on one side is an unprecedented monster in the sea, and on the other side is the world government that stands at the top of this sea. What will be the outcome of this war? It's exciting just thinking about it. Doflamingo, the Luffy of that world going to sea means that the sea will face unprecedented turbulence, and the biggest war is about to break out. Parallel world. 17-year-old Luffy also plans to go to sea. Ace and Sabo have already gone to sea early. I don't know how they are doing now. We need to find Zoro first. By the way, Yuta can't forget. He should be in New World. It takes a while to get to New World. But having said that, the standard equipment of a pirate is 10 companions. I only have Zoro as my companion now. I have to find some more. Just find a few. Just treat it as a pendant. 17-year-old Luffy is full of energy. Whether it is fruit development, haki, swordsmanship, physical skills, combat experience, or teaching abilities, they have all been greatly enhanced. Goal, become the freest man in the sea. Luffy comes to the beach and plans to set sail on the boat he bought. At this moment, Garp suddenly appeared not far from Luffy. He folded his arms in front of his chest, with veins on his forehead popping out, and said angrily, Luffy, where do you want to go, you bastard? Grandpa, why are you here? I'm already planning to go to sea. Are you here to see me off? No need, it's a bit unnecessary. Shut up, Grandpa will not let you go to sea. If you want to go to sea, you must defeat me first. Chapter 56, Zoro goes to sea to find Luffy and gets lost to the final island Raftel. Gall D. Roger, Garp, why are you here? Pluton Silver Rayleigh. No, Garp, Luffy is planning to go to sea, and you want to stop him at this time? You should know that this is impossible, because Luffy has made up his mind to become the freest man in the sea. Man, choose to become a pirate. Copper Jabba, almost done, Garp, get out of the way, Luffy is about to sail away. Monkey D. Garp, how can I get out of the way? I will not let my grandson become a pirate. Garp naturally also knows about himself in that parallel world. Why on earth should Luffy be prevented from going to sea? After all, the Luffy in that parallel world is countless times more powerful than the Luffy in their world. If a man of that level goes to sea and becomes a pirate, there is no doubt that the world will be in chaos. It is reasonable for Garp to come out to stop him. Buddha's Sengoku, idiot Garp, it's useless to stop you now. Garp, who saw that parallel world, stopped Luffy from going to sea. Sengoku felt happy for the first time, thinking that Garp was finally normal for once, knowing that it would be too dangerous for a man like Luffy to become a pirate. But soon, Sengoku realized it. It's useless to stop Luffy at this time, because one's dream cannot be easily changed by others. Luffy started to meet red-haired Shanks when he was 5 years old. Buried in Luffy's heart is the dream of becoming the freest man in the world and becoming a pirate. Now more than 10 years have passed. The dream has already taken root. At this time, I am afraid that even if I beat Luffy half to death, there is nothing I can do to change his dream. Kong, Garp, you bastard realized it too late. Why didn't you stop him from going to sea earlier? Kyuzin, it's a done deal, Mr. Garp. Your grandson is destined to become a pirate. A man of his level will not change just because of your few words. Poruzalino, come on, Mr. Garp. We must let the Straw Hat Boy from that world join Marine. I want to be his comrade, but I don't want to be his enemy. Poruzalino naturally knew that Garp corrected Luffy's idea of becoming a pirate. Hope is very slim. But here's the thing. 24 he, Poruzalino, really doesn't want to face a monster like Luffy. Golden Lion Shiki, look at their tense momentum, they are about to start a fight. Douglas Bullet, will Garp, the hero of Naval Headquarters, fight against his monster grandson Straw Hat? I'm really looking forward to it. Doflamingo, speaking of which, I'm really curious about what kind of strength the Straw Hat Boy in that world has now. Moonlight Moria, fight, fight, fight. Parallel world. Ah, Grandpa, what are you talking about? How could I attack you? Luffy said, spreading his hands. Shut up, you unfilial grandson. I have told you countless times that you will become the most powerful marine soldier in the future, but you bastard actually insists on becoming a pirate. 1. Don't you know how powerful you are? If a man like you becomes a pirate, he will bring a lot of trouble to the sea, so let me be your opponent. As I said just now, if you want to go to sea, beat me. 1. Otherwise, join Marine with me. Garp looked serious and said solemnly. Actually, he doesn't know what kind of strength Luffy has now. However, based on Garp's understanding of his grandson's monster talent, he knows that Luffy is only 17 years old now. But the strength is definitely extremely powerful. I've told you countless times, Grandpa, I want freedom, freedom. When Marine has no freedom at all, he has to be angry and be ordered by his superiors. 1. Don't hinder my dream, Grandpa. Luffy said helplessly. As a Marine, you will be criticized by your superiors for the rest of your life. If you want not to be criticized, you can only climb up, but there is an end to climbing up. At most, he is Marshal Marine, or the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. But what if it reaches such a height? Celestial Dragons said a word, don't they have to execute it like crazy? Luffy really doesn't want to fight Garp at all. After all, he is his grandfather, who raised him for a long time. If we really fight, it would feel a bit treasonous. For freedom, do you want to become a vicious pirate on the sea, Luffy? Garp asked loudly. Being a pirate has nothing to do with being extremely evil, haven't I already said it? Being a pirate is just for freedom. Luffy explained. Luffy became a pirate because he wanted freedom, because in today's sea, only being a pirate can achieve true freedom. Because in this sea, there is no such thing as an adventurer. As soon as you go out to sea and fight against a powerful pirate, Marine will find out that you are not a member of Marine, nor a caravan, nor a royal army of a cert kingdom. I only found out that you are the captain of a ship, and you have no other identity. This will directly give you the name of a pirate, and then start to define the bounty for you. Really, whether it's your father, Dorag, or you, both of them are really rebellious. They don't listen to my words at all. Garp sighed helplessly, looking particularly lonely. We just want to go on the path we think is right, Luffy said calmly. Anyway, I'm here today. It would be outrageous if I gave up preventing you from going to sea just because of your few words. Garp loosened his wrist. A sinister smile suddenly appeared at the corner of his mouth, showing a big white fang, and said, "By the way, I haven't beaten you in a long time, Luffy. Do you still want to fight? I really don't want to take action, Grandpa." Luffy said helplessly. How can there be any reason to attack one's own grandfather? Just when Luffy didn't know what to do, a shout came from the distance. "Hey, Luffy, is it Luffy?" Hearing a slightly familiar voice, Luffy turned his head slightly and looked towards the seaside. I saw a man with green hair paddling a small boat towards this side. Luffy was slightly stunned when he saw the person coming and thought for a few seconds, then suddenly thought of something and said with some surprise, "Zoro." "Ha ha ha, it's really you, Luffy." Seeing that Luffy recognized him, Zoro was also sure that it was Luffy standing on the coast. He rowed quickly and came to the coast. "Why are you here?" Luffy asked. He originally planned to take a boat and go directly to Zoro later, but he didn't expect Zoro to find him first. "I saw that you didn't return to Shimotsuki village for a long time, and you didn't come to invite me to go to sea, so I went to sea a year ago." Zoro explained excitedly. Luffy has visited Shimotsuki village several times since he left it 9 years ago. "But I haven't been there since 5 years ago. Going to sea a year ago." Luffy is confused. What's the situation? He remembers that the distance between Windmill Village and Shimotsuki Village is only about half a day's sailing time. How did you do it, go to sea a year ago, and only appear in front of me now? I got lost. I don't know what happened. I paddled the boat over the place called Upside Down Mountain and came to a sea area called Grand Line. Then after a while, I met a kind-hearted man who wanted to steal my saber. I defeated him and he promised to take me back to East Blue and take me to Windmill Village. Zoro scratched his head a little shyly. Where's that kind person? I met Sea Kings on the road and was eat. I won. Achoku, good guy. It's half a day's sailing journey, but it took him a year to row with the Eternal Pointer to the Windmill Village. John, no. Is this guy named Roronoa Zoro trying to make me laugh to death? He rode across Upside Down Mountain and ran to the Grand Line. Yuruj, he is indeed a man who can board the Straw Hat Boys' ship in that world. It's so scary. Eustace Kid, I'm laughing so hard. Is this Roronoa a road fool? Capone Baja, hey, even if you are a roadie, that's exaggerating, right? How can anyone get lost from East Blue to the Grand Line? Who would have thought? The half-day sailing journey also carries an Eternal Pointer that can guide the way. Zoro can actually paddle to the Grand Line. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, no one would believe such a bizarre thing. Silver Axe, if he hadn't met a kind person to show him the way, I guess he could row to New World. Byandy Wald, it seems possible to row to the Grand Line and the New World. Douglas Bullet, from a certain perspective, this person named Roronoa Zoro is also an out-and-out monster. The Straw Hats are indeed a gathering of dragons on the ship. 17. Crocodile, but that kind man was really miserable. He was eaten by Sea Kings on the way. Vinsmoke Sanji, ha. Green Algae Head, this does seem like something you can do. Tony Chopper. Although it sounds incredible to paddle from East Blue to Grand Line, when I think about it being Zoro, I don't think it's weird at all. Brooke, Mr. Zoro, you are really amazing. looking at the entire sea. Only Mr. Zoro can do such a thing. Use up, hahaha, I was laughing so hard. Zoro, how did you do that? Roronoa Zoro, it's so noisy, I was just a little lost. Didn't I find Luffy in the end? Portka's D'ace, it was indeed found, but it just took a year. Sabo, Luffy's crew is really interesting. Rox D Zebek has decades of sailing experience. How long does it take to get to and from Sihai, Grand Line, and New World? He knows everything. There is absolutely no way it would take a year just to travel back and forth to East Blue. Quinn, did this kid lie? Could it be that he has actually been to the whole world, but he didn't? Knowing the way, I only know that I have been to the Grand Line. Tony Chopper. It always feels like it's not impossible with Zoro's character. Use up, hahaha. I laugh so hard, Zoro, you are really awesome. Marco, it's getting weirder and weirder. Copper Jabba, it would be very interesting if this kid got lost and accidentally went to the final island of Raftel. Jaws, from a certain perspective, being lost for a year can be called a monster, and rowing a boat for a full year to ensure that the boat is not destroyed can also be called a monster. From a very bizarre perspective, he can be called a monster on the same level as Luffy in that world. Roronoa Zoro. Parallel world. Good boy, I really belong to you. Luffy couldn't help but complained inwardly. Luffy, who is he? Garp looked at Zoro for several seconds and couldn't help but question. Zoro, Roronoa Zoro, my companion, let's meet to be pirates and go to sea together. Luffy pointed to Zoro beside him and replied. Really? Both of them want to go to sea, right? It seems that the number of people who will be taught a lesson by me will increase by 590. Garp smiles maliciously. Luffy, who is he? He looks very strong. Zoro looked at Garp warily and asked. Observation, Haki is more or less capable of helping the user sense the strength of the opponent. And the aura exuded by Garp is more terrifying than Shimotsuki Koshiro. He is also the person with the most powerful aura that Zoro has encountered since he came to the sea. My grandfather. Your grandfather? Is it really your grandfather? Why do I feel like he wants to kill us? It's really my grandfather. He wants to stop us from going to sea, but I don't want to fight him. Luffy nodded. Stop talking nonsense. Give Grandpa a punch. Garp clenched his fists tightly and stepped hard on the ground, causing the ground to tear open. The aura of Overlord emerged from Garp, which made Zoro feel a little uncomfortable. Facing the pressing Garp, Luffy's choice was to retreat backwards. But Zoro didn't do that. He quickly pulled out the blade from his waist and bit Wado Yimanji in his mouth, preparing to receive Garp's blow. Zoro will never back down when fighting against the strong. When Zoro wrapped around Haki from the blade and blocked Garp's blow. However, it was only blocked for 2 seconds. 2 seconds later, Zoro's body flew hundreds of meters away. Fortunately, no passers-by were hurt and no buildings were damaged. Oh, can you block my punch? Garp looked at Zoro, who was knocked away with some surprise, and then looked at his fist. Achoku, can you block Garp's fist for 2 seconds? This guy has really undergone earth-shaking changes after receiving the guidance of the Straw Hat Boy from that world when he was a child. Although Zoro was knocked hundreds of meters away after blocking Garp's fist for a second. But you must know that Garp's fists are not too merciful. He was able to survive 2 seconds in front of the slightly serious Garp. This is enough to be called a monster. Want to know who Garp is? The strongest guard at Naval Headquarters can be called one of the most powerful people in the sea today. A casual punch from this man is enough to beat up most pirates in the sea. And Zoro was able to block this punch for 2 seconds, which is also amazing. After all, Zoro is extremely young now. It is conceivable that his future upper limit is destined to be high. Yuruj, is this the power of the heroes of Naval Headquarters? It's so terrifying. I can feel the oppression that penetrates my soul even as I lay on the screen. Kaido of the Beasts, you always get stronger, Garp. How come your strength hasn't declined much compared to your peak? Monkey D. Garp, I'm already old, so don't praise me too much. Kyuzin, ah la la, Mr. Garp is still as strong as ever. Chapter 57, Luffy'S Garp, Haki clash. Skulechminapu. This power is not weaker than the Admiral of Headquarters Kizaru we encountered in Sabyati Archipelago before. When meeting Admiral Porzolino in the Sabyati Archipelago, this group of supernovas has no resistance at all. Whenever you encounter one, you will be instantly killed. And this was done by Porzolino without seriousness. And Zoro faced Garp, who was no weaker than Porzolino. Being able to block his fist for 2 seconds was completely beyond their group of supernovas. Vinsmoke Sanji, you're too brave, green algae head, why don't you run away? Roronoa Zoro, I never turned down an opportunity to fight against a strong opponent. Use up, really Zoro, if you hadn't been guided by Luffy in that world, otherwise you would have fallen to the ground completely with such a punch from Grandpa Luffy. It was too dangerous. D. Roger, speaking of which, Luffy wasn't the one who blocked Garp's attack. I also want to see what Luffy's strength is now. Pluton Silver Rayleigh, the Luffy of that world doesn't seem to want to fight Garp anyway. Maybe we have to let him face other enemies so that we can see what his strength is. Copper Jabba, the biggest problem facing them now is Garp. If Luffy never takes action, I'm afraid Garp will not let them go to sea easily. 11. Bindy Wald, almost done Garp, get out of the way. Parallel world. Zoro. Seeing Zoro being knocked out, Luffy's pupils shrank slightly, and he was a little surprised. Garp's attack was aimed at him, and he had used observation Haki to dodge it. But unexpectedly, Zoro suddenly stood in front of him, trying to block the blow. Having mastered Haki, who is not weak and can also feel the power of his swordsmanship, does such a man have to become a pirate? What a pity, Garp said regretfully. Although Garp knows that Zoro's strength cannot be compared to Luffy. However, at such an age, having such strength is quite remarkable. When he thought that such a man would become a pirate, Garp couldn't help but feel a little regretful. It would be great if both Luffy and Zoro could become Marines. In the distance, Zoro walked over with wounds all over his body and exclaimed, "You are really countless times more powerful than I thought, Luffy." "Are you okay, Zoro?" Luffy asked, concerned. "It's just a little injured. It's not to the point where I can't move. Don't worry about me, Luffy." Zoro shook his head. "Is it just a little injured? Your body is also in good shape," Garp said with a smile. "Are you coming again?" Zoro clenched the blade and looked at Garp with fighting intent in his eyes. Of course Zoro can tell that Luffy doesn't want to fight Garp, so he can only leave it to him. "You are indeed not weak, but if you continue to fight me, you will die. Let Luffy do it. I will take care of all the enemies Luffy doesn't want to fight, so if you want to continue fighting, just let me accompany you," Zoro said without flinching. "Do you know who I am? Kid, stop being so brave, you will really die." I said I will be your opponent. Today is the day for Luffy and I to go to sea, and I will not let anyone stop us. Achoku, you can still stand up after taking a punch from Garp, and dare to continue fighting. Yurush, amazing man, Roronoa Zoro. John, such courage this guy. Capone Baja, is this guy a fool? He knows that the opponent in front of him is completely invincible, but he still dares to fight. If we continue to fight, he will really be killed. Roronoa Zoro, from the moment I chose to board Luffy's ship and become a pirate, I have already had the consciousness of mortality. As a crew member, if I cannot solve problems for the captain, I cannot be called a qualified crew member. Only I can fight this fight, so I can never back down. Gull Roger, ha. Not bad, not bad. A man like you is indeed qualified to be on Luffy's ship. Whether it is this world or that world, you are more qualified than anyone else. Pluton Silver Rayleigh. With this kind of awareness, you will go far in the future, Roronoa Zoro. Copper Jabba, great statement. Red Earl Baloric Redfield, just show us how far you can go, kid. Portgas D-Ace, what a nice crew, Luffy. Sabo, congratulations, you have found a very good companion, Luffy. Ha, what a nice look and awareness, Roronoa Zoro, right? I remember your name, do you want to become a marine soldier with me? Garp invited. I want to become the world's greatest swordsman and go to sea with Luffy, so let me refuse. Hey, really, did you reject me so easily? Garp scratched his head helplessly. Looking at the two people in front of me, Luffy and Zoro, who are high-spirited and full of awareness. Garp didn't know what to do for a while. He really wants to stop Luffy from going to sea, but he can also see that it makes no sense for the two of them to go to sea. Even if you forcefully stop them, they won't be able to change their dreams. Thinking of this, Garp took a deep breath and then sighed. Forget it, I won't stop you. No matter what, he is still his grandson. If you want to go your own way, just be aware of it accordingly. Really, Grandpa, thank you very much. Luffy also breathed a sigh of relief after hearing Garp's words. If forced, he may really have to fight Garp. After all, he couldn't just watch his first crew member die at the hands of his grandfather. And now, hearing Garp's words, Luffy breathed a sigh of relief. But Garp suddenly changed the subject, clenched his fists, and continued. I'm still not feeling good, so I have to let me beat you up before we talk. No, do you still want to fight? Luffy is numb. He thought Garp had let him go, but he didn't expect Garp to want to beat him up. Roronoa Zoro, don't stop me yet. I just need to beat that idiot Luffy and let you go to sea. Garp first focused on Zoro and reminded. Zoro did not answer when he heard this, but focused his eyes on Luffy, as if asking what Luffy meant. Forget it, let's just treat it as a sparring match. Step aside first, Zoro. Luffy spread his hands and said. I see. Zoro nodded and stepped aside. Come on, you brat, enjoy my iron fist. Garp wrapped around armament Haki from his fist, and then stamped on the ground with his feet. The next second, he shot out like a bunch of arrows from a crossbow and rushed towards Luffy. Seeing this, Luffy's face became serious. I saw that his fist was covered with armament Haki. Facing Garp's iron fist, this time he did not choose to dodge, but chose to resist. Peng! The fists of the two collided violently, and a terrifying aura emerged from the two of them, like two roaring giant beasts biting each other. The ripples caused by the fist collision swept hundreds of meters away, and the ground cracked inch by inch. Zoro, who was not far away, was so depressed by the aura emanating from the two of them that he frowned. Achoku hey, isn't it? Can this kid block Ka's punch? John, what's going on? Isn't this kid only 17 years old? No matter how strong he is at 17, can he be strong enough to block Garp's fist? Silver Axe, how strong has this guy become after all these years of training? Luffy was seen blocking Garp's punch with his fist. Many people in the chat room were all confused. As a former member of Rock's Pirate, he is also a member of the Rock's group. Naturally, they have played against Garp many times. They know how powerful Garp's fist is, even if they were facing Garp's fist. Everyone needs to avoid their sharp edges, but what about Luffy? He actually resisted Garp's fist head-on. And it doesn't seem like we are at a disadvantage. Yoruge, the Luffy of our world, only defeated a 10-meter-long Sea Kings as a courtesy when he went to sea. But the Luffy of the parallel world directly fought the hero Garp and fought armament Haki head-on as a courtesy. Eustace Kid, hey, your strength is too exaggerated. Trafalgar Law, the strength of the Straw Hat Boy is really unfathomable. Capone Bijet, the Straw Hat Boys in that world were really ridiculously strong, if we compare them with the Straw Hat Boys in our world. The gap. Who would have thought? Same with Luffy. The Luffy of their world only went to sea to win a Sea Kings to add to the fun. But Luffy in that parallel world is really too awesome. Go head-to-head with Garp. Who is Garp? Heroes of Naval Headquarters. He is also known as the Iron Fist. This is enough to prove how hard Garp's fist is. It is not an exaggeration to call it the hardest fist in the entire sea. But how could Luffy block such a punch? This really confused them all. If Luffy from their world were to fight Garp like this, he would probably die on the spot. Kyuzin, ah la la. It's been a long time since I've seen anyone able to block Mr. Garp's punch. Poor Zelino, how terrifying, the Straw Hat Boy of that world. Sakazuki, when this guy goes to sea, the sea is destined to become completely chaotic. Crane, Garp, I don't think such a punch is your full strength. After all, the opponent is your grandson, so do you show mercy? That's true. You also said that you just wanted to teach your grandson a lesson, so you didn't use your full strength. It's also reasonable. Pluton Silver Rayleigh, that's a squishy punch, Garp. Copper Jabba, you didn't hit us with fists like this, Garp. Gall D. Roger, amazing, amazing. Even if that guy Garp didn't use all his strength, such a punch is not something that just anyone can block. What the Straw Hat Boy in that world has. I recognize the strength. I can only say that overthrowing the world government is just around the corner. They are the Roger Pirates. As the pirate who has dealt with Garp for the longest time, he naturally knows Garp's strength best. They could see that Garp didn't use all his strength in that punch. But even if you don't use all your strength, how many people in the world can block a punch like Garp's? You know, Luffy in that world is only 17 years old now. He already has such fighting power at the age of 17. How exaggerated will your strength be when you reach your peak? Jago Lucia Satan, dangerous man. Marca's Maz Saint, has your strength reached this level already? After seeing Luffy's strength, the faces of the 5 elders all became serious. Naturally, they could see that this was not a full blow from Garp. But Luffy's strength is really not weak. Topman Vasilii Saint, it must be erased as soon as possible. Shepherd 10 Peter, don't worry, we in the other world are not fools, and we will never allow him to grow up. After all, they have been at the top of the world for 800 years. Of course you are not a fool, good money is good. They believe that themselves in another world will definitely notice Luffy quickly. At that time, as long as I am gives the order, they can dispatch the Knights of God immediately. They can even go out in person if necessary. And of course, all this requires I am's order. Parallel world. After Luffy and Garp's fists clashed for a few seconds, Luffy was still knocked away. Asshole, I want to punch you hard, why are you blocking me? Garp cursed. Wouldn't it make me look stupid if I stand and be attacked by you? Luffy spread his hands. Luffy knows that Garp is not using his full strength. So I didn't use all my strength. After all, the fight between the two of them now is at best a conflict between families. It is different from the one just now when Garp wanted to stop them from going to sea and needed to use all his strength to defeat the opponent. Just give it a try, you'll be fine. You brat. Okay, Grandpa, you can let us go to sea now. Get out, get out, get out, get out of my sight immediately. Garp waved his hand impatiently. I understand, let's go, Zoro. Luffy heard this and patted Zoro on the shoulder, and then the two of them got on the boat and prepared to set sail. And of course, the two of them boarded the boat Luffy bought. If they were to take Zoro's boat, they would have to row a boat, which would be so troublesome. Looking at the ships going away, Garp was silent for a few seconds and then shouted, Luffy, the sea is very dangerous, don't die casually. Eat. I know, Grandpa. Luffy stands on the boat and waves to Garp. In this way, Luffy and Zoro started an adventure. I beg for a custom order, and I beg for a full order. Chapter 58, Zoro sailed the boat and took Luffy to Marine Base. Copper Jabba, finally going to sea. Pluton's Silver Rayleigh. Luffy's adventure in that world is about to begin. Gall D. Roger. Garp, you did a good job and didn't insist on stopping your grandson from pursuing his dream. Monkey D. Garp, shut up, Roger. There is nothing Garp can do. If giving Luffy a beating can change his mind. Garp has to beat Luffy to death. Original world. Luffy went to sea and came to the town where Menka was located, where he met Zoro, who was tied up. Luffy rescued Zoro, invited him to go to sea with him, and successfully defeated Montessori. After Luffy and Zoro went to sea, Luffy was accidentally taken to Orange Town by a big bird. Here Luffy met Nami, who was being chased by the buggy pirates. After the two met, they began to escape in the small town. However, Nami knew that he would be caught if he hid, so he simply kidnapped Luffy and gave it to Buggy. Buggy asked his men to aim the cannon at Nami, and then let Nami feel it. Copper Jabba, Buggy, why do you still want to kill Luffy? Pluton Silver Rayleigh, that's too much. Buggy, that's Garp's grandson. If you kill him, you'll be dead as well. D. Roger, this woman named Nami went a little too far and kidnapped Luffy. Being misunderstood, Nami didn't know what to explain. After all, she did regret kidnapping Luffy. Because she never expected that Buggy actually wanted to kill Luffy. But Nami refused, Buggy simply asked his subordinates to light the fire himself, but when the cannon was about to be fired, Nami quickly put out the fuse with her hand, preventing the cannon from successfully firing, and saved Luffy. Gul D. Roger, sorry, I wrongly blamed you just now. Nami, HMPH. D. Roger, hahaha. I'm so sorry, I made a conclusion too early. Soon, Zoro also arrived at the scene, rescued Luffy, and took Nami away at the same time. After a while, Buggy led the entire pirate group to find Zoro and Luffy. A war broke out between the two sides. 890 in the end, Luffy and Zoro won one after another, and Luffy even knocked Buggy away. Pluton Silver Rayleigh, you are in quite a bad situation, Buggy. Why are you provoking Luffy for nothing? Copper Jabba, although the Luffy in our world is no better than the Luffy in another world, you can't defeat Buggy either. 1. Kyanliang Deahua Buggy the Clown, I will never forgive the damn Straw Hat Boy. I used to live a very comfortable life ruling Orange Town, but it's all because of him that he defeated me, and in the end, he even made me a prisoner. The days after Buggy met Luffy can be described as miserable. After being beaten away from Orange Town, Luffy was executed in Log Town and was interrupted by lightning from the sky. Later, I accidentally found a treasure map and dug for treasure. After digging and digging, I found Marine's underground base. Just like that, he was imprisoned. Red-haired Shanks, I really miss you, Buggy. Seeing you being beaten away reminds me of the days when we used to fight side by side. Kyanliang Deahua Clown Buggy, shut up, you red-haired bastard. If it hadn't been for your sudden appearance back then, I wouldn't have accidentally eaten Chop Chop fruit, and I wouldn't have lost the treasure map, and I wouldn't have as for the mix-up. Red-haired Shanks, I wish you had gone to sea with me and become my companion. Kyanliang Deahua Clown Buggy, I don't want to be your little brother, red-haired bastard. Achoku, I have to remind you, little red-nosed kid, if you meet this Straw Hat Boy in this world, you are lucky. If you still meet the Straw Hat Boy in that parallel world, you will suffer a big disaster. Kyanliang Deahua Buggy the Clown, don't call me Red Nose. Parallel world. Luffy and Zoro drove the boat towards the sea together. As for the person who drives the boat, it is Zoro. Can you really sail a boat? Luffy glanced at the boundless sea, then set his sights on Zoro and issued a soul torture. Originally, Luffy planned to sail the boat by himself. But Zoro said that there was no need for him to do anything like sailing the ship himself. He can just drive it himself. Trust me, Luffy, I have been rowing for a year, and I am still experienced in sailing. Zoro patted his chest and assured. Achoku, good guy, that Luffy from the parallel world is so brave. He dares to let Zoro sail the ship. Are you not afraid to let him sail it to the new world? Copper Jabba, it's over. I don't know where Zoro in that world will take Straw Hat. Roranoa Zoro, trust me, I've been rowing for a year. Tony Chopper, it's not that I don't believe you, but you are too crazy, Zoro. Roranoa Zoro. Okay, I'll leave it to you then. Speaking of which, where is Kuina? I originally wanted to invite her to stop my ship. Luffy asked curiously. Kuina, she went to sea a year before me. I don't know where she is now, but don't worry, she is very strong and is not inferior to me at all. She will not encounter any danger. Zoro explained Road. Every time Luffy goes to Shimotsuki village, he's not just training Zoro. At the same time, Kuina and Luffy also often guide her training. Kuina's talent is no weaker than Zoro's. So, in terms of strength, it should be similar to Zoro. Roranoa Zoro, Gu, Kuina is still alive. Shimotsuki Koshiro, did Luffy in that world really change the outcome of Kuina's death? Kuina, am I still alive in that world? And I went to sea. I'm really curious about where I will go after I go to sea and what my strength will be like. Shimotsuki Koshiro, I really have to thank Luffy from that world. Seeing that Kuina is still alive, Shimotsuki Koshiro and Zoro are extremely happy. Although it is a parallel world, such a world does exist. Has she already gone to sea? It seems that we will be able to meet her in this sea in the near future. We are really looking forward to it. I won't say any more. I will go to sleep first, and I will leave the task of sailing the ship to you. Luffy left these words and went back to the room in the cabin to rest. After a while, It's not good, Luffy. It's not good, Luffy. Luffy, who was sleeping soundly, was shaken awake by Zoro. What's wrong? Luffy asked, rubbing his eyes. I sailed to Marine's base. We are now surrounded by Marine, Zoro explained. Bad. I really have you. If I had known, I wouldn't have let you sail the boat. Achoku, I'm laughing so hard. The ship is sailing to Marine base. Nami, what I was most worried about actually happened. Tony Chopper. Sure enough, no matter what, you must not let Zoro drive the boat. It's too dangerous. Marco, this guy's boat driving skills are really top-notch. It's impossible for a normal pirate to drive the boat to Marine base on his own initiative. Roronoa Zoro. Although Luffy was surprised that Zoro would drive the ship to Marine base, but he soon realized his blind spot again. Why is Marine surrounding us? The two of us have just gone out to sea, and we don't even have a bounty. Why is Marine surrounding us? Luffy asked in confusion. Sorry, I have a bounty on my head. Zoro scratched his head in embarrassment. Sekf. You have a bounty. Luffy was confused. Didn't I say it before? I went to sea a year ago. The process of finding you was very difficult. I met many enemies on the way. I defeated them all, so I was offered a reward. Just now, when I docked the ship at the beach, I was going to the island to replenish some supplies, and then a Marine recognized me. Although I defeated them, more and more Marines appeared. Although they are very weak, I think we still have to get on the boat to wake you up. Zoro explained at length. Luffy. There are so many flaws that Luffy didn't know how to complain for a while. Hold the eternal pointer for half a day's journey, you call it a difficult process. Knowing that he is a bounty criminal, he still dares to land on the island at will. And since the opponent is very weak, wouldn't it be enough to solve it by myself? As for waking me up, let's go out and take a look. Luffy plans to go out to see the situation in person. Coming to the deck, you can see that there are many Marines appearing on the coast. A large number of Marines have raised their guns and are aiming at them. And the person standing right in front of the many Marines is none other than someone else. It is none other than Colonel Lu Hyungyu of the Marine branch. The bounty is 10 million Bali, Roronoa Zoro. You have been surrounded. Capture him immediately, otherwise I will order the shooting. Menka said with murderous intent in his eyes, staring at Zoro and Luffy. Although I don't know who he is, he seems to be very weak. Luffy scratched his head and pointed at Menka. It's indeed weak, Zoro nodded. Then you woke me up. Luffy couldn't help complaining after all. I'm not afraid that Marine will board the ship secretly and attack me while I'm fighting them. And without your order, I don't want to attack them casually. After all, you are the captain, and I don't want to do it without your order. In this case, it will cause trouble for you. Didn't you fight with them when you landed on the island? Forget it. They are just a group of small characters anyway. Let's deal with them first. Luffy stretched and looked nonchalantly at the starfish surrounding him. Little roll, arrogant tone. Do you know who I am? I am Colonel Menka, who is well known in this sea area. You bastard pirates, you will be unlucky if you meet me. 1. As long as I arrest Roronoa Zoro, who has a bounty of 10 million Bali, I think I can be promoted. You will regret meeting me today. Hearing that Luffy underestimated him, Colonel Menka suddenly became angry. After all, he is also the local emperor of this small island. How has he ever received such verbal insult? Also, Menka is already thinking about how to arrest Zoro and how to get promoted. Point 1. Be a little quieter, stop making noise. Luffy finished speaking. An astonishing momentum centered on him and quickly spread out in all directions. A terrifying sense of oppression was like a mountain pressing down on Menka. Luffy's Conqueror'S Haki was like a roaring beast attacking Menka, making him feel the fear that penetrated his soul. The next second, Menka's eyes turned white, including a large number of Marines, and he fainted and fell to the ground. Achoku, this guy's Conqueror'S Haki, is so many times more powerful than when he was little. Douglas Bullet, isn't this nonsense? Straw Hat is now 17 years old. Conqueror'S Haki must be many times more powerful than when he was a child. Byandy Wald, this man named Menka is really miserable. He also wanted to arrest Roronoa, and Zoro was promoted. Little did he know that what he encountered was the most terrifying monster in the sea. There is no other thing. Red Earl Baloric Redfield. Monka in our world at least fought back and forth with Straw Hat and Zoro for a while before finally losing. Yes, but in that parallel world, Straw Hat and Conqueror'S went over, and all the enemies fell down without even taking a shot. John, I knew this kid would go to sea all the way. Pluton Silver Rayleigh. I don't know if Luffy in that world has mastered Conqueror'S entanglement now. Copper Jabba, you should already know how to do it. With a Conqueror'S Haki of this level, it would be a bit unreasonable if he doesn't know how to be a domineering person. Kaido of the Beasts, Haki, a 17-year-old brat wants to master it. Don't be kidding, this kind of thing is simply impossible. Haki is the strongest force in the world. Strength and Conqueror'S entanglement is a power that only a very few strong men in this world can master. Kaido of the Beasts, I admit that the Straw Hat Boy in that world is indeed powerful and talented, but Conqueror'S entanglement is not that easy to master. His majestic four emperors Kaido, master of Conqueror'S Tangle, were all in his 40s. He didn't believe that a 17-year-old kid could master such power. Marco, you can't use common sense to see the Straw Hat Boy in that world, Kaido. Have you forgotten how talented he was when he was a child? He could learn to see, hear, and feel in one day at the age of 5. Haki. Charlotte Linlin, my mama. A brat like you who doesn't know Conqueror'S will not understand that Conqueror'S Haki cannot be improved through practice. With the user's mental power, one can become stronger only when the spirit reaches a certain level, and Ba Tang is the same. Charlotte Linlin, even if the Straw Hat Boys in that world are 10,000 times more talented than us, if their mental strength and courage are not up to standard, it is absolutely impossible to learn Conqueror'S entanglement. Gal D. Roger, you are so sure, don't be slapped in the face later, Kaido Linlin. Kaido of the Beasts, let's wait and see when he releases Ba Tang, Roger. Chapter 59, Nami attacks Luffy at night. Luffy, let's sleep together. Parallel world. After Luffy used Conqueror'S Haki to stun Monka and a large number of Marines. Soon after, a large number of Marines came to the scene. Just when Luffy thought he had to continue fighting, I saw that the group of Marines who rushed to the scene immediately threw away their weapons when they saw Menka fainted, and then shouted excitedly. Colonel Menka has been defeated. Great. He has finally been defeated, and we can finally report it to Naval Headquarters. Menka's evil deeds and the rest of the Marines are also aware of it. But because Menka is their superior, and Menka has absolute control over the entire island, anyone who dares to report information to Naval Headquarters will be executed on the spot. This also resulted in that they have always lived in the shadow of Menka and did not dare to resist. But now, Menka was defeated, and they finally no longer needed to be afraid of Menka. You can report to the Naval Headquarters and have Menka arrested. Eustace Kid, what's going on with these Marines? Why are they not only not angry, but also so happy when their superiors are defeated? Trafalgar Law, what an abnormal bunch of Marines. Monkey D. Garp, this island has been oppressed by Colonel Monkey for many years. The appearance of Luffy can be said to have liberated this island. Garp still knows something about Menka. After all, in their world, after Menka was defeated, he was the one who personally escorted Menka. Pluton Silver Rayleigh, is that so? Nika, who can bring freedom to people, has now begun to show its talents. Copper Jabba, if you want to become the freest man in the sea, the first thing you have to do is to fill this sea with freedom. Luffy in that world has already started to move towards this goal. D. Roger, and the end point of progress is the world government. Ha ha ha, I'm really looking forward to it. What's going on with them? Luffy looked at Marine, confused. What's the situation? I beat up your colonel, are you still excited? I don't know either, Zoro shook his head. He didn't know what happened. Forget it, it seems they have no intention of fighting anyway. It's time for us to leave. You can go and rest while I sail the boat. Luffy doesn't dare to let Zoro sail the ship now. This time I took him to the Marine distribution base. If I take him to Marineford next time, it will be over. So no matter what, he will never let Zoro sail the ship again. You are the captain, how can I trouble you with this kind of thing? Zoro refused. Zoro has great respect for Luffy. In his opinion, the tiring work of sailing the ship should be left to him, the crew. Although I don't want to open it, but no matter what, I won't let you do it again. Zoro, 1. Speaking of which, we really need to find a navigator. Luffy scratched his head and said in distress. Although Luffy's sailing skills are considered top-notch. But sailing is also a trouble for Luffy. Because sailing is very boring. Luffy is already thinking about finding a navigator. As his voice fell, a woman came to the shore and looked at Luffy and shouted, "Navigator, are you looking for a navigator? If possible, I can be your navigator." Zoro and Luffy heard this and turned to look at the coast. I saw Nami looking at them with her hands on her hips. In the original book, Nami came to this marine base to steal money, so in their timeline, Nami is also in this base. She stole Marine Base's money when Zoro caught Marine's attention. And she also saw just now that Luffy is extremely powerful. She thinks that maybe Luffy has a lot of money on the boat. And when Nami and Luffy looked at each other, Nami's heartbeat suddenly accelerated violently, and an indescribable emotion burst out and took root in her body. "Are you a navigator?" Luffy asked. "Yes, I am a navigator," Nami nodded. Originally, she just wanted to board Luffy's boat and steal money. But now, no matter whether she steals money or not, she must get on Luffy's boat. This is what the heart thinks. "Okay, come up here and let me see your sailing skills." Luffy lowered the ladder to get on the boat and let Nami get on the boat. After Nami got on the ship, he showed superb driving skills. After all, Nami has been traveling around the sea to raise 100 million bali since he was young, so his sailing skills are natural. In addition, Nami himself is the most talented person in the world. Otherwise, when Golden Lion Shiki met her, he wouldn't have wanted her so much. "Not bad, you will be our navigator from now on. Finally, you don't have to let Zoro sail the ship." I saw that Nami's driving skills were very good, and there was no sign of getting lost at all. Luffy also breathed a sigh of relief involuntarily. "Hey, thanks for the compliment." Hearing Luffy's compliment, Nami felt inexplicably happy for some reason. "Tony Chopper, it's great. After seeing that world and having Nami on board, I felt relieved. Usopp, it's really scary for Zoro to sail the boat, but with Nami here, I can feel at ease." Vinsmoke Sanji, green algae head, you really need to learn to know your way around. Roronoa Zoro, it's so noisy I'm just a little lost. Trafalgar Zoro, Master Zoro, although I don't want to say it, you really are not just a little lost. Pluton Silver Rayleigh, this little girl named Nami has a strong talent for sailing. With her here, Luffy's journey in that world will be much smoother. Copper Jabba, as long as the man named Roronoa Zoro is not allowed to sail the ship, I can accept it. I am really afraid that Roronoa Zoro will sail the ship to the world government's territory or to the naval headquarters. Then Luffy will be finished by then. Luffy is the hope to overthrow the world government. Please give me flowers 0. If it is said that because of Zoro's sailing, Luffy was in a desperate situation, then they will be stupid. Yuruj, I don't know if it's my imagination, but I found that the little girl named Nami looked at Straw Hat Boy in the wrong way. She looked very similar to Yuta, Makino, and Kuina. Eustace Kid, did you notice that too? Kira, I am becoming more and more sure now. In that parallel world, it seems that any woman will definitely fall in love with Straw Hat, even if they have just met. Capone Bije, how lucky is this guy? Are there women everywhere he goes? This guy already has 3 women, is he going to add another one now? John, damn it, I don't envy this brat for his strength and talent. Why are there so many women, and without exception, they are all top beauties? Silver Axe, I really envy this bastard so much. I also think there will be a woman who can look at me the wrong way one day. Momousagi, if a woman looks at you wrong, she probably wants to kill you, Silver Axe. 0. Silver Axe. Marco, I was thinking just now, if the Straw Hat Boy in that world really would fall in love with any woman, then Momousagi, if you meet the Straw Hat Boy, wouldn't you also fall in love with him? Josie, yes, that guy Momousagi is also a woman. Momousagi, are you kidding? This kind of thing is impossible. How could I fall in love with a pirate? I am a righteous marine. Unplayed video. Parallel world. Night. After Luffy taught Zoro Haki and his attainments in swordsmanship, he went back to his room to sleep. But when he was about to fall asleep, he suddenly heard the slight sound of the door opening. Nami tiptoed into Luffy's room with very careful movements. After arriving at Luffy's room, Nami began to rummage through the cabinets quietly, trying to find some money from Luffy's room. After all, Nami will never forget what he needs to do most no matter what. That is to collect 100 million bali to save the villagers in their own village. What are you doing? While Nami was looking for money, Luffy suddenly lay on his side with his face raised and looked at her. The sudden sound immediately made Nami panic. You haven't slept yet. You move so much, it's weird that I can fall asleep. So what on earth are you rummaging around in my room? Luffy sat up and asked. Yes, I'm sorry, I can't say. Nami shook his head. Although Luffy is powerful, she is not sure whether she can defeat Arlong. So she didn't dare to drag Luffy into the water at will. Do you want to sleep with me? Luffy asked. Although he doesn't understand what Nami is looking for. But Luffy only knows one thing. That is, as long as a woman enters his room, she definitely wants to sleep with him. Because Yuta, Makino, Kuina are all like this. Luffy has already summed up his profound experience. Alright, legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.